All right, hello and welcome everybody to day 3 of the 2025 U.S. Biathlon Senior National Championships and Spring Festival presented by Toyota. We're coming to you live from the Crosscut Mountain Sports Center in Bozeman, Montana. And as you can see from these beautiful drone shots, it's a little bit foggy today. Not so much sun, but it's still warm. For those of you who've been following the races that we've had over the last few days, you know that the course has been a little slow. It's been a little slushy, and today it's going to be about the same. We're about 40 degrees here at race time. No wind today at the moment, so that's going to help these competitors on the range, but certainly going to be some slow, sloppy conditions today. Today's format, we have the Super Sprint Mass Start. So for those of you who are not super familiar with all the biathlon formats that we have going on here, this is a venue that the IBU introduced a few years ago that they actually took off the schedule on the World Cup and IBU Cup, so we don't see it too much anymore at the IBU level, but it's still a really fun event that we still like to promote here. Basically what the event is it's very similar as the Mass Start, except for each lap we're only going to be doing about 1 or 1.5K depending on your age group, and then you're going to do a 75-meter penalty loop, so a shorter penalty loop, and then you're going to head back out on course. So some of our top athletes, our World Cup and IBU Cup heroes, they should be doing this loop or this whole course in approximately 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the snow speed. Maybe some of our older athletes or our less experienced athletes, maybe they're taking a little bit more time than that, but it's going to be a really fast day. It's going to come down to fast shooting. It's going to come down to who can hit their targets quickly, and really it's going to come down to who can be skiing at top speed the quickest. So as we see our IPC sit ski categories lined up here, we have Ty Weiberg on the far right. Next to him, Michael Nealon. Then we have Kendall Gretsch there in bib 1 and Nicole Zino in bib 4. These are some of our IPC and our U.S. para team athletes taking off. There goes Nealon and Weiberg quick off the front. We saw a good battle with them on their first lap yesterday. As we see these athletes taking their first descent and their first climb out on the course. We're going to try to stick with you here for all of these races. We're about 25 minutes in between each wave, and we're just going for it. Everybody who's racing today, including the Masters, the U15s and U17s, have all zeroed. We had 2 waves of 0 this morning, and we're just going to start running through these races every 25 minutes. So we're going to be going straight through today, no break in the middle. And then I think some people probably have some flights where they got to get out of here. So it's going to be a quick day today, as we see these IPC sit skiers making their way up this first climb. It's a little deceiving here. It's tough to tell from this angle with the drone, but this is a hill. This is definitely a climb. I'm sure we'll see probably our World Cup athletes V2ing this, but towards the top it does get a little steep as you go around the fence that keeps you off the range, or keeps you from going down range. As we pan back, get a beautiful view of the mountains here. Got to give a big shout out to Zilla Productions here, who've been killing it with the drone and all the camera footage that we've seen this weekend. Been hearing from a lot of you, getting texts and DMs saying how awesome the feed has been this weekend, and so we're super lucky to have this level of coverage for a domestic biathlon race, and just with these beautiful views, it all ties together. So huge thank you to Zilla Productions. You see their logo in the top right here. As we're following, I believe this is Michael Nealon, who's off the front here. if you're following along at home, you can follow the live results on muddydogsports.com. We have some checkpoints on the course after the penalty loop, so we'll be able to know exactly what place everyone is in, or if you're trying to follow someone back at home that might not be in the front and getting a lot of camera time, you can follow their race back at home too. And we'll also have some target data for you as well. So if your athlete is not in the front of the field, but you still want to follow them along, we should be able to have their shooting data, and their splits will be on Muddy Dog timing. So yeah, huge shout out to all the players that are making this weekend possible. From Crosscut, who's hosting this event, to Toyota, who's been supporting Crosscut running this event, down to the timers, the production crew, the volunteers, especially the volunteers who've been out here for at least these last 3 days. We've been lucky with some good weather the last couple days, but the volunteers are out here all day. As we see the volunteers out here just enjoying the show, getting some snacks as we're watching these sit skiers taking their first shots. Unfortunately, the sit skiers are going to be shooting at a 13 millimeter air rifle target, and so we don't have their targets. Unfortunately, don't connect to our range computer, so we won't have the shooting data for you here. But we're going to follow them as they go around the penalty loop. As it looks like we got Nealon, and I believe that is Kendall Gretsch in second place there, and they're going to be taking off towards the penalty loop. We'll see if they go in. Followed closely by Ty Weiberg. We got 3 in the front here. This is great. It looks like Michael. Yeah, it looks like Kendall Gretsch and Michael Nealon are out on course. Weiberg, you can see going around the penalty loop there, so he's going to have a little bit of a gap to make up here. As we're continuing to follow, I believe this is Ty Weiberg after his penalty loop. But yeah, huge thank you to the volunteers that are out there today. If you happen to be watching this coverage from the Toyota booth in the stadium, please go thank a volunteer while you're out there today, because like I said, 3 days of putting on this event for you. The volunteers don't get enough recognition for that. But then also, think about some of the Crosscut officials who have been working on this all week. All the Crosscut folks who have put a ton of time and energy into hosting this event. As we get this beautiful shot here of Weiberg going up the climb. There's a lot that can be learned from these sit skiers here. Seeing Weiberg go back and forth, changing his tempo as he's going up this hill. We saw him relax a little bit, use a little bit more power, and now he's going back to the high tempo technique. Just because he's in a bucket in a sit ski, he's following the same strategies that I would recommend any athlete do. It's all about messing around with that tempo to power ratio as you're battling the undulating terrain of a biathlon course. As Weiberg makes his way up the climb, and he starts flattening out and seeing a little bit of a downhill here, he's going to start going back to a little bit less tempo and a little bit more power, see if he can build that speed on the descent. As you can see, we got plenty of snow here in Bozeman. It's just a matter of the Mother Nature cooperating and keeping this snow around. So we're going to move forward a little bit. We should see our leaders, Michael Nealon and I believe Kendall Gretsch. I need to confirm this, and I'm going to do that by going to muddydogsports.com and checking the live timing here.
Stand by. We're getting ready to throw to you. Oh, I got an official right in front of you now. He's the one that's messing up.
Michael Nealon coming into the range, we can see here. Michael's so strong in his upper body as you see him pounce onto that mat, get into position. He did go clean in his first shooting. As we see bib number 1 coming in right next to him. That is Kendall Gretsch. Kendall has some great results on the IPC World Cup and IBU World Cup. Not really sure which organization is in charge of the para competitions these days after the merger with FIS and IBU the last couple years. However, it doesn't matter who's putting on the race. Kendall Gretsch has a lots of 1s and 2s next to her name, including a couple victories at the IPC World Championships in Pokljuka this year. So we are witnessing greatness on the range right now as we see Gretsch pull ahead of Nealon. They're going to make their way towards the penalty loop here, and we're going to see how their shooting went. This is a nice back and forth battle we have here. Nealon obviously a little bit stronger by being able to pull away on the trail, but Gretsch, oh, actually it looks like Nealon is in front, and he passes the penalty loop, and Gretsch goes into the penalty loop. So Nealon is going to have a little bit of a lead. As we see Weiberg taking off. There's Nealon out on course. So Nealon's got 1 penalty loop advantage over Kendall Gretsch. So we do have a fun little battle going on here as we see Weiberg leaving the range. Gretsch is now out of the penalty loop, and I'll give you the update on Weiberg as he's approaching the penalty loop. And there's Weiberg in the penalty loop. So we have Michael Nealon with about 1 penalty loop advantage over Kendall Gretsch, who has about 1 penalty loop advantage over Ty Weiberg. So there's your top 3, all separated by 1 penalty loop. But it's going to be a tight battle. There's 2 shooting stages left, and as you can see, we're only a few minutes into this competition, and they've already gone through 2 shooting stages. Oh no, as Ty Weiberg goes around for another penalty loop, getting caught by Nicole Zino. Zino has some speed here, so she might be pretty motivated after maybe 1 penalty loop. Probably senses that she has Weiberg in her sights. So hopefully these 2 will be back on course together. Nealon being in the front now, he has demonstrated himself to be one of the stronger skiers. As there we go, there's Ty Weiberg making his way out of the penalty loop. Hopefully Nicole Zino can stay with her. As we zoom back out, take a look back out on course. In a couple minutes, probably about a minute, we'll probably see Nealon coming back in. Again, just like the mass start competition today, 4 shooting stages, prone, stand for our IBU categories. But it's a short course and a short penalty loop. Penalty loop is 75 meters. That's half the distance of a normal biathlon penalty loop. And the course that they're skiing is only 1K. And very similarly to our IPC athletes here, they're going to be going up this hill behind the range, and then they're going to be bombing back down into the range. So this race is going to be quick. I suspect it's going to come down to whoever can shoot the fastest. So if you're looking at our men's field, fast shooters and accurate shooters, I'm thinking people like Vincent Bonacci, people like Bjorn Westervelt, who showed yesterday. Paul Schomer is a great shooter. Maybe not as quick on the range as the youngsters, but then you also have Jake Brown, who has demonstrated in these last 2 races that he's skiing incredibly well. As we look over to our women's side, who are some fast and good shooters, I'm looking at Chloe Levins. I'm looking at Kelsey Dickinson. Both of them have won this weekend Levins winning the sprint on Thursday. Yesterday, our mass start was Dickinson with good quality shooting, but you cannot count out Joanne Firesteel Reed, who has been on the podium both races, and then also Grace Castonguay. We haven't seen her on the podium yet, but she definitely has what it takes to be competitive with her competitors there. As we see Nealon diving into the mat, his signature dive, so strong from the upper body. Watch him as he gets off the point as well. He likes to pop right up and get back out on course. So as they're into their third shooting here, little bit of precipitation coming down from the mountains today. Looks like it's still snowing and it's not raining as you see Gretsch coming in. As long as it stays cold enough and this precipitation stays snow, I think people will be happy. Nealon pops out. Poles are on, and there goes Michael Nealon now. Really good, powerful forward lean on the poles, using everything he's got. He's coming to the penalty loop. We're going to see how his shooting is as he looks like he's going into the penalty loop, so the door could be open for Kendall Gretsch. You don't end up winning a lot of world championships by missing targets, so you got to believe Kendall Gretsch is shooting well, and she might take the lead here. Nealon halfway through the penalty loop. Here comes Gretsch. Are they going to leave together? Oh, no. Gretsch goes into the penalty loop, but Nealon's going around for another one, so they're neck and neck in the penalty loop. This leaves the door open for Weiberg. It looks like people are making their way onto the point down at the end of the range, so a competitor could be making their way in. What a great shot of the stadium here. Both these leaders are making their way out of the penalty loop. There they go. Looks like Gretsch is going to be leading Nealon out the course. On the course, we have one final shooting stage left. So now we're going to see. We have Kendall Gretsch, who has tons of experience. She is one of the best IPC sit skiers in the world. We have the youngster, Michael Nealon. Is he going to try to make a move here? Is he going to put the hurt onto Kendall Gretsch, or is he going to try to play it smart? We're going to see probably two different tactics here. We got a veteran, we got a rookie. Looks like Nealon is going to pull away on this hill. I kind of expect that. Nealon has been demonstrating all weekend that he's very fast on the skis. Opening up a little bit of a gap here. If Gretsch can stay with Nealon up this hill, then she's going to have a great position as they come into the final shooting stage, because it's all downhill once they make this left-hand turn at the top of this climb. So if she can stay close, even if she can stay close enough to get the draft even, I think the advantage is going to go back to Gretsch, as Nealon has demonstrated that he's not as strong a shooter as Gretsch. But if I'm Nealon here, I'm going to keep the pressure on. I'm going to keep pushing over the top of this hill, because if he can give himself a one penalty loop advantage, he could take the win today. As we see them go around here. Looks like Ty Weiberg lost a pole as we saw him ski through the range there. And we got coaches chasing him with poles. Oh, here we're going to get a good demonstration of a pole handoff here for Weiberg in the stadium. I wonder if he broke it or he just dropped it. Very smooth transition there. Very smooth handoff. No issues for Weiberg. Looks like that pole is going to be the right height for him too. That's always frustrating. And Weiberg goes straight past the penalty loop. So that was a very smooth handoff for Weiberg. But now we're back on course. I believe we're looking at Kendall Gretsch right here. So Michael Nealon is still putting the pressure on. Long downhill here, and then a big sweeping turn back towards the range. Nealon is no longer in sight for Gretsch, so she's got to keep close. She knows that she can shoot well. And there is Michael Nealon entering the range for his final shooting. Looks like, from my estimation, he does have about one penalty loop advantage. Again, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to bring you the exact shooting results. Nealon in the range now. Maybe we'll take a look at the reaction of the coaches. Maybe they're going to give us some insight on how he's shooting, but regardless, we'll definitely see as they go towards the penalty loop. Here's Gretsch now. Nealon pops up, pulls on, taken off, and Gretsch with fast shooting. Oh no, Gretsch has a problem. Gretsch might have a jam in her rifle. There goes Nealon pulling away now. Can Gretsch stay with him? Those air rifles, they can be finicky sometimes. We're going to see right here, is Michael Nealon going for a victory lap, or is he heading into the penalty loop? Looks like Michael Nealon was clean on his last shooting. This is going to be Michael Nealon's race. Yeah, you should. And there goes Kendall Gretsch right past the penalty loop. So Kendall Gretsch did everything she needed to do. She came in, she shot fast, and she hit her targets. But Michael Nealon also sealed the deal with the pressure of being first. He was able to hit his targets and close the door on Kendall Gretsch. So it looks like it's going to be Nealon. It's going to be Gretsch. I believe we had the race here for third place between Weiberg and Zino. Looked like Weiberg with some good shooting despite the pole issue. Good shooting in his third stage. I believe he's still going to stay in third. And we're going to bring you some shots from the finish line here. Stay tuned, though, as I'm getting word that our senior men are in the start corral and they're going to begin lining up soon. So we should probably be seeing our senior men. That's our IBU Cup and World Cup heroes that will be lining up pretty soon here. But we're going to stick with the finish line here until we see Michael Nealon and Michael Nealon and Kendall Gretsch taking the win for the IPC Sitski. As we see our finish line here, you can't see the mountains this morning. That's how much precipitation we're getting. But any moment now, we're probably going to have Michael Nealon coming towards the finish line. There's a live view of our start line. So we'll let you know when our senior men start lining up. And there, I'm getting word that here comes Michael Nealon towards the finish line. Here he is, beautiful drone shot of Nealon making his way down the 100-meter straight. Nobody in sight. Huge congratulations to Michael Nealon. He put in a great effort out there today, shot clean when he needed to, and obviously moving pretty quickly on the skis as we saw a lot of his race and a lot of his climb up the hill. Congrats to Michael Nealon from the Crosscut Mountain Sports Center for taking home the win at home. Your 2025 U.S. Biathlon Senior Nationals and Spring Festival presented by Toyota at the Crosscut Mountain Sports Center champion. As here comes Kendall Gretsch. Kendall Gretsch couldn't match the power of Nealon today, but Kendall Gretsch, a champion in her own right, put in a great showing today. Good shooting out there in these difficult conditions. Those air rifles, you know, when it's a little bit windy, even the slightest amount of wind can really push those air rifle bullets. Those pellets even, they're not even bullets, they're pellets. So the fact that she was able to shoot so well today and put in such a good fight against the fast skiing Nealon, great race for Kendall Gretsch. She is going to be your women's sit ski champion today. As we take a look at Michael Nealon on the left there and Kendall Gretsch talking about their race. I'm sure they're probably talking about that third or fourth lap when they were leaving the range in the penalty loop together. Should be seeing, there he is. There's Ty Weiberg coming around, coming to the stadium. Got a good pickup here. Ty Weiberg's got a lot left in the tank. We're going to see a pretty fast finish here from Weiberg. Had a little difficulty out there with that pole situation after shooting 3, but did not phase him. Oh, actually, that was Nicole Zino. I'm sorry, excuse me. That was Nicole Zino who was able to move ahead of Weiberg. So congrats to Nicole Zino for having that strong finish there. She looked really poppy, really aggressive, as now we take a look back over to the start line, and we see our senior men starting to line up. So welcome to everyone who is coming to you live from Bozeman, Montana.
Lost the camera too. Patrick, I just lost you.
I might have to do
Copy.
Get you the picture from the start line soon. We're going to go off in about 4 minutes, so we have a little bit of time as we're still waiting for Weiberg to make his way to the finish.
You gonna hold there, Mike? I might throw to you.
Yep.
Throwing to drum. I did not have you back yet.
So we see here in the center, this is our senior men's lineup in the center in the green for racing for the Craftsbury Green Racing Project. That is Bjorn Westervelt. He was our champion yesterday in the mass start event. Next to him on the left there in the blue, that is Vincent Bonacci. He is someone who is capable of earning medals on the IBU Cup. He took some time off in the middle of the season due to mono, actually. So this is his first weekend back racing. On the right, putting his skis down now in the green, that's going to be Thor Shepard. He was our junior winner from the last 2 races and a member of our junior national team, racing for Team Altius. Behind Shepard, we have the redhead Van Ledger.
It's like, is that an
hailing from Lake Placid, New York. He currently trains and competes here for the Crosscut Mountain Sports Center and goes to school at MSU. On the right side, bib number 19 in the yellow, that's Sam Sturts competing for Michigan Tech University. As we see two more favorites line up in lane number 1. On the left in the green, we have Jake Brown, the fast skiing birthday boy from yesterday. Fast skiing birthday boy from yesterday. And then on the right side in the blue, representing the Aaron's Nordic Center out of Brillion, Wisconsin, it's Paul Schomer. So we got the two veterans lined up on either side of the front line, and I would say everyone else in this pack, including Bonacci, including Westervelt, are, I don't want to say newbies, but less experienced, youngsters, fast, full of adrenaline. So we're going to see how our more experienced Schomer and Brown are able to control this pace. Again, we're only doing a 1.5K lap, so this race is going to go by really quickly. Race is going to go by really quickly. 4 shooting stages. Prone, prone, standing, standing. 75-meter penalty loop. And you can follow along the live results on muddydogsports.com, but we'll try to bring you all the data that we can. Bring you the shooting data, and I'll try to keep you updated on splits after each shooting stage.
Okay, I got you now. That looks a lot better.
Now, even though we identified those top men as potential winners here, we've got 24 athletes on the start line here, so it's almost going to be a full race and a full range. Really, anyone on this line can win today. After the race is completed, it's only going to be 7.5K of racing. As they take off, it's going to be a short and quick race, so anyone in the field who shoots fast and shoots clean could win today. Honestly, today could be a day for someone like Thor Shepard, someone who generally shoots fast, even in the longer races. Shoots fast, and when he hits his target, he can be lethal on the range. So don't be surprised if we see some names towards the front of the field that we're not expecting or that we're not used to. As we see them take off, looks like no issues on the first turn into the first climb. Yesterday, it seemed like there was a little bit of a gentleman's agreement not to go out too hard and break some equipment, break some poles or anything. But today, that is all out the window because this course is going to be short and fast, so there's no time. There's no time for lollygagging out there. You got to push it right from the start. Looks like Jake Brown is going to be pushing it, followed by Westervelt. So the two Craftsbury Green Racing Project athletes are leading out the start. Actually, it looks like Craftsbury is going to be 2 and 3. It looks like Schomer's in the lead there. As you can see, doing a very similar course to our sit skiers. Looks like Westervelt had a good push into that downhill there as he came right up on Schomer. Absolutely beautiful shot of this lap out here. We're so lucky to be able to have this footage and this coverage. Looks like there's a little bit of a breakaway pack here. 6, 8, 10 athletes, about 11 athletes in the front. 3 chasing. We have our juniors and our seniors all mixed in together here. There was a nice streak of brown on that patch of brown in the snow there yesterday. So it looks like the little bit of snow that we did get last night was able to cover up that patch of brown. But I'm sure it's still going to be pretty dirty out there, pretty soft. Little downhill here, and then a very gradual, basically flat climb as we have now skiers 4 across here. So this is a little bit of tactics here. Don't want to break any equipment. But it looks like it is going to be... I see Schomer and I see Brown sort of in the 4th and 5th position here. So we might have an unknown name in the front here, which I just mentioned. We could have some unknown skiers in the front here with the short lap fast shooting. So don't be surprised if we see someone we don't recognize. But we'll have a better shot for you here as they enter the range.
Okay, I'm going for people coming in. Okay, sorry to you, Mike.
Yep.
Enter in the range now. I love this shot of the range. We're going to be able to see the whole crowd. Here's our shooting data. And if you take a look at the wind flags, it looks like there's not much wind. So every athlete should be going to their bib number. Oh, it looks like they're filing in. So every athlete is filing in. Looks like we have Philip Matthew from Paul Smith. I was wondering if that was a Paul Smith athlete that was going to be in the front there. Philip Matthew takes lane 1 ahead of Paul Schomer, who hits the first shot. Thor Shepard in lane 3. Watch his shooting. He could go quickly. Schomer 3 for 3, 4 for 4. And clean. Schomer is clean. He's going to be your leader after shooting 1. Westervelt behind him misses his last shot. Who's on lane 6? That's Jake Brown. So we have the 2 veterans in the lead after the first shooting. It will be Schomer and Brown. Everyone else has at least 1 penalty loop.
Okay, turning back to drone.
Oh, you're not on drone?
I was just getting them coming by.
Looking to see who's going to come out of the range in 3rd. It's going to be Westervelt just behind Mark Arens, who is one of our IPC standing skiers. We didn't get his shooting data, but Mark Arens is going to be in 3rd, followed very closely by Bjorn Westervelt, Vincent Bonacci.
Yeah, Paul, go ahead.
And it looks like potentially Nick Burkhart in 6th place there. So the top 6 athletes are separated by 24 seconds here.
I got you now, camera 2.
But again, the top 2, Paul Schomer and Jake Brown, are going to be separated by 3 seconds.
Agreed.
You got to get in here. Let me know.
Now I'm gonna catch up.
So now we're going to see, can Mark Arens, who's 14 seconds back, or Bjorn Westervelt, who's 16 back, can they catch up to the 2 leaders? I'm going to guess that Bjorn Westervelt's going to put in a run for it. He doesn't want to get too far back. We're only about 6 minutes into this race, and we're already halfway through the 2nd lap. So if you lose contact with those leaders now, you're never going to catch them. As we see Westervelt just pull ahead of Arens there. We're going to look forward now, see if we can find the 2 leaders. Looks like there they are. Little bit of separation still.
There's 4 shooting, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna have to land at some point in the middle. Probably after. I could probably make 1.
Maybe go after the 2nd shooting.
Or during the 2nd shooting. Yeah.
Hopefully I'll be up there too, that way we can...
Okay.
Mike, if you can get me out.
Remind me to frame it. I'll pull. I need
As we have our 2 leaders here, our 2 veterans, both on the Beijing Olympic team in 2022. Jake Brown and Paul Schomer. Yesterday was Brown's birthday. I checked in with Paul at the rifle check-in this morning, asked him what his strategy was against these youngsters. Some of these shorter, faster, high-tempo races lend to give a little bit of an advantage to the youngsters who have a little bit better fast-twitch muscle. And I asked him how he was going to cope with that. And he told me the most veteran answer you could ask for, and he just said, I'm going to go out and race my own race. And whatever happens, happens. I'm just here to have fun. And if that is not what this Senior Nationals and Spring Festival is all about, I don't know what is. As it looks like we have Schomer taking the lead in front of Brown here as they're already making their way back into the range.
I want to go up a little bit higher. Are you good with that?
It's fine. Yeah. I mean, in terms of if I was
making their way through the birch trees. Let's see if they're going to get any correction here. They're going into the prone shooting again. If the wind had changed at all or their groups had changed, they'd get some correction. But I'm not seeing any coaches giving corrections.
You can just leave it on this right now. I'll pull up data.
Entering the range here, we got our shooting data back on screen here.
Patrick, I just lost you.
26 seconds or so separating these two leaders from the chasers. Westervelt 16 seconds back. So the penalty loop, again, being a shorter penalty loop, it's only going to take these fast skiers about 15 seconds to rip around that penalty loop if needed. In the prone, we got Schomer on lane 1, Brown, lane 2. Love this camera angle. We'll see who pops up first as we see Bjorn coming in. Miss for Schomer, hits the second. Brown misses 2. Schomer 2 for 3, 3 for 4. Schomer with 1 penalty. Brown with 3 penalties. The door is open for Westervelt, but he misses his first shot. Westervelt can still sneak ahead if he hits this last one. Yes, he does. Westervelt with 1 penalty. He's going to be about 15 seconds back of Schomer still. But Jake Brown is going to be around the loop for multiple laps as we see Nick Burkhart and Thor Shepard in the chase group. Shepard 2 for 2, misses his third. Burkhart misses his second.
Okay, I got Rainbow. Okay, I got you.
Nobody behind is shooting clean except for Shepard with 1 miss. So Shepard might move into 4th place here. It depends on how fast Jake Brown can do that last penalty loop as we see him go around again. Checking the laps here. We do have Schomer and Westervelt 10 seconds apart. Mark Arenz, our IPC standing skier, goes in 3rd place, 14 seconds back. Waiting for 3rd here for the IBU senior men. Who's it going to be? And it's going to be Jake Brown. 30 seconds back for Jake Brown. He's just about tied with Thor Shepard, who is our top junior athlete. So Brown and Shepard are now on the chase group fighting for 3rd place overall in the IBU category.
Stay right there, Mike. That's good framing.
Yeah, I can fly low. It's just I need to be in a straight line. I can't do that.
Now we have a big gap to the next athletes coming through. Again, you can go on MuddyDogSports.com to find all the splits. Vincent Bonacci into 5th place, 1 minute back, tied with Strum in 6th place. Strum from Team Spud up in Canada. Tim Cobb, 1 minute back. Nick Burkhart, 1 minute back. So we have a good fight for 5th place here, but the leaders are pulling away. 10 seconds separate Schomer and Westervelt. This is a carbon copy repeat of yesterday's competition. Jake Brown, again, skiing very fast, but he's just not hitting the target right now. He needs to hit the target if he wants to fight for the top spot. But then we have our junior athlete, Thor Shepard. I called it just as we started the race. Thor Shepard's a fast shooter, and when he hits the target, he can be lethal out there. So this could be a good day for him.
Patrick coming back. Is he going to be up there?
I don't think he's being up there. He's having problems with his transmission.
So what I'll do is I'll just finish.
As we see on the far reaches of the course, our leaders are starting to make their way back. Do we have a little bit of a breakaway here, or is that going to be a lapped skier? I think that might be Paul Schomer. So it looks like Paul Schomer is actually breaking away from Westervelt, who was 10 seconds back. Only 1.5 kilometers this loop, so not a lot of time for Westervelt to make it up. It looks like he is making some time up on Schomer.
As soon as you get to the range, I can throw to 6.
Westervelt is making time up. Based on my calculations, it's about 3 seconds now, down from that 9.9 when they left the range. So Westervelt is putting in a fast pace here. And we did see yesterday in our head-to-head mass start competition, Westervelt was shooting faster than Schomer, and I believe that is what ended up winning him the race. He was able to gain just enough of an advantage on the shooting range with his fast shooting speed that gave him the win yesterday. So based on this right here, this separation, I believe if they shoot the same, they should leave the stadium together. Just knowing that Westervelt is shooting a little bit faster than Schomer. We see our top two. Here we go, our top four in the range. Looks like Schomer misses his first two. Westervelt with one miss. So I believe Westervelt is going to be coming back into the lead. Jake Brown, 2 for 2, 3 for 3, 4. Jake Brown is clean. Jake Brown's going to take the lead, or he's going to be at least tied with Westervelt. It's a short penalty lap. It's only going to be 15 seconds. We'll see them come out here. One miss for Thor Shepard, and there's the two Craftsbury Green Racing Project suits. They're going to be together leaving the range. One miss for Shepard, so now it's going to be Schomer and Shepard battling for third place. There goes Mark Arens. And Schomer is back out on course, followed closely by Arens and Shepard, so it looks like it's going to be about 5 seconds or less from Schomer to Shepard.
I got rainbows right now.
We'll bring you the course footage in just a moment here.
What do you mean? You want to
As we see some of the chasers. Matthew Strum is clean. That's going to help him move back up towards the front. 2 misses for Bonacci, a miss for Burkhart, and 3 for Cobb, 1 for Ledger. Ledger had a terrible first prone stage, so it's good to see that he's making his way back in with good shooting standing on the first bout. But for sure, there's a separation here between our top 4 and 5, if you count Mark Arens. Top 5 are separated by 20 seconds. Then a big gap. 53 seconds is Matt Strum in 5th place. And then a minute 14 to Burkhart.
I think I got the leader.
There goes Bonacci back out on course. So this, just like yesterday, turning out to be a super exciting event. It's going to come down to the last shooting stage here.
Yeah, that's it.
As we see our 2 leaders out on course, Westervelt and Brown representing the Craftsbury Green Racing Project out of the Northeast Kingdom of Craftsbury, Vermont. Shout out to the fine folks up at Craftsbury who've done so much to support biathlon in the United States and support athletes looking to achieve their World Cup and Olympic dreams. Obviously, Brown and Westervelt have been recipients of the support that Craftsbury has provided over the last over a decade, maybe 2 decades of supporting athletes. But now here they are going head to head for the win coming into the final shooting. Both of these athletes have been skiing really well this whole weekend, so I'm going to give the ski advantage to Brown. It looks like he might just be coasting right now, opting to go Westervelt's pace, but as we saw yesterday, Westervelt was skiing very well. Westervelt's season his IBU season has been over for about 2 weeks now. He flew straight to Bozeman from the last IBU Cup, where he reported that he's been doing a lot of downhill skiing and backcountry skiing. So not so much biathlon or cross-country ski training. Jake Brown traveling here straight from Oslo, the final World Cup stage. But does not matter. Here they are. It's about this shooting right here. Who's going to be able to keep their nerve? Obviously Jake Brown with tons of experience, multiple time World Cup team member, and 2022 biathlon Olympian for the US. But we have Bjorn Westervelt, our 2023 FISU Winter World University Games Mass Start champion. Hit for both. 2 for Westervelt. 3 for Westervelt. Brown is having issues. 4. And Westervelt goes clean. Westervelt goes clean. He shows the veteran how it's done. Brown's got 2 penalty loops. Short penalty. If Schomer here, they're going to be able to get in front of Brown. Westervelt's going to be champion. No one's going to be able to chase him down. Look for Shepard and Schomer on 3 and 4. Schomer starts with 2 hits. Shepard misses his first. 3 for Schomer. 4. And Paul goes clean. Paul goes clean. If Paul can get out of the range now, he's going to be ahead of Brown. There goes Brown around the penalty loop. He's got half a penalty loop advantage. And there it is. It's going to be about 5 seconds. Can Jake Brown catch Paul Schomer for second place? Jake Brown has way faster ski speed. He's been demonstrating that all weekend. It's going to be a matter of if he can keep it up for this final lap of the weekend, the final lap of his season. Westervelt has a 30-second lead over Schomer, and I don't think he's going to be able to catch that. So Westervelt's going to be your champion. It's going to be a matter of whether or not Jake Brown can close the 4-second gap to Paul Schomer. We see it already.
Started the women?
Yeah, women just started.
As we just got word that the women are now on course, we're going to stick with the men here because this is the battle that we want to watch, and then we'll cut back over to the women for their shooting stage. But this is the final lap as Jake Brown is putting in the tempo on Schomer. If Schomer can get over this little hump right here, he's got a long downhill to recover.
I took the target off.
Again, the women have started. The women are on course, but we will catch up with them after the conclusion of the men's race here. It looks like Jake Brown has already cut that deficit in half. Schomer really needs to push over the top here. Advantage goes to Jake Brown.
Hopefully I'll catch him at that.
Yeah, I think
We're on the far side of the course now. It looks like Jake Brown is just about on Paul Schomer's skis now. And with a good downhill speed, it looks like Brown is going to go around. He's going to take the inside. Schomer's going to let him go. Let's look for Schomer to match his tempo as we're going to cut over to Bjorn Westervelt coming in for the victory.
This is the second one, I think. You sure?
Yeah.
I don't know.
A third.
That guy, the one who's moving.
The third one in line is
Yeah.
Westervelt.
This is the finish, right?
Yep. As we're looking for Bjorn Westervelt here, coming towards the finish, there he is in the green at a casual pace compared to Brown and Schomer. He knows he's got the win in the bag.
Is it the transceiver or the camera? Let's just get your camera's been an issue the last 2 days. Let's get you my camera.
Here comes Westervelt around the turn. He's going to celebrate and take home 2 victories in a row here with absolutely stellar shooting on the last stage for Bjorn Westervelt. Absolutely great race for him both days against his veteran rivals. He was able to keep his nerve and shoot clean, but more importantly, shoot fast. as he takes a bow for his performance, and much deserved. That was an epic performance that he just put together here. Now, we're going to see if we can get the shot down the finishing stretch. Was Paul Schomer able to keep on Jake Brown's heels? No, he was not. There is Jake Brown. He's going to take second place, and really, he drops Paul Schomer 100 meters up on Schomer. So, nothing that Schomer could have done there would have helped him. Jake Brown is just skiing at a different level. So Craftsbury Outdoor Center goes 1-2 in the senior men's competition with Bjorn Westervelt and Jake Brown. Brown gets on the podium, I think for the first time this weekend. And Paul Schomer, representing the Aarons Nordic Center, takes third. Now, as you see in the distance here, we have our women coming in to shoot. It's number 1. We're going to get you live footage from the range here in just a moment as our women are coming in to shoot. As we see our women now taking the range. Here we go. Chloe Levins, 2 for 2. Misses number 3. Grace Castonguay, 3 for 3. 4.
Okay, drill.
And 5. So Grace Castonguay is clean. Chloe Levins is on the penalty loop with 2.
I don't know why. The internal battery.
Kelsey Dickinson on the penalty loop with 1. And Joanne Reed with 2. Quinn Lemkuhl with 4. So Grace Castonguay is going to be your leader after shooting number 1. Again, you can find all the live data on muddydogsports.com, so you can follow along with the split timing.
I'm just going to hold this shot right here while everything gets figured out.
Chloe Levins here. Grace Castonguay in first.
Pull the micro out of the GoPro. There's a micro plugged into the GoPro. Yeah, over here to me.
As we're making our way around the penalty loop here, Kelsey Dickinson moves into second place, 15 seconds back, just ahead of Chloe Levins in third, 27.3 back. So it's a little bit strung out to start. We saw that there was, a lot of penalty loops. Only one person going clean so far. Danny Arovich, a sit skier, standing sit skier. In fourth place, 34 back, just ahead of Joanne Reed, 36th place. Looking down the order here, some clean shooting from Ariana Woods. Clean shooting from Chloe Funel.
It's been resetting every time I've closed the fucking battery. Now it's holding on Japanese. Every fucking time.
As we see more finishers, looks like that's going to be Tim Cobb coming to the finish. So the turnaround here from men to women was pretty quick, but I'll recap you on the results for the men here. So it's the senior men, Bjorn Westervelt and Jake Brown, going 1 and 2, representing the Craftsbury Green Racing Project. And then Paul Schomer from the Aarons Nordic Center, Team Berkey, in third. Matt Strum, Team Spud, the Canadian, and Mark Arens, Team Spud, both Canadians, in fourth and fifth. Then Crosscut Mountain Sports Center goes 6 through 9 with Van Ledger, Nick Burkhart, Vincent Bonacci, and Tim Cobb. But then we also want to take a look at our junior men. Junior men, Thor Shepard, your winner today, 24-23. That would have put him in fourth place for the senior men's competition. So a great performance from our junior athletes here, competing up against the older crowd.
Thank think just get them coming back in because the leaders should be coming back in.
Yeah, our leading women should be coming back into the range relatively soon. We'll see them in a moment.
You what?
I don't understand.
As we see a few more finishers coming across the finish line, as we have our leading woman coming to the range here. This is going to be Grace Castonguay. We'll see her over there coming in on point 1. Opting to wear the blue U.S. Biathlon suit today. She's going to jump in lefty, so don't be surprised with her little spin around.
Okay, you got
Castonguay, the only one to go clean after the first
copy.
prone stage, so she has a pretty decent lead over the other women. Castonguay has yet to be on the podium yet this weekend. She does have a 15-second lead over Kelsey Dickinson, which is exactly 1 penalties loop worth, as we see Dickinson coming into lane 2 here.
There's a tripod.
Castonguay still fighting to catch her breath, misses the first one, but hits number 2. Hits 3 as Chloe Levins now onto the range, and Castonguay is out of there with 1 penalty loop. If Dickinson goes clean here, she will close that margin, but it looks like Dickinson has a miss. Levins is 1 for 1, 2 for 2. Levins is going fast, 3, 4, and 5. Levins is clean now. Dickinson with 3 penalties leaves the door open for Joanne Reed. I believe Castonguay and Levins are going to be tied for first as they leave the penalty loop. As we zoom in here on Joanne Reed, who goes 3 for 3. 4. And 5. Joanne Reed is also clean. So heading back out onto loop number 3, we have Grace Castonguay still in first place, but she's tied 1 second back as Chloe Levins. You know that they're going to catch each other out there on course. Dickinson, still waiting for her to come through. Is Reed going to be able to jump in front of Dickinson? It looks like that is going to be the case, as Dickinson is going around for another penalty loop. Reed into third, 22 seconds back. A clean shooting from Joanne. We still see that on the graphic there. Here are our chasers. Dulcie Tanguay in lane 5. Quinn Lemkill 6. Amanda Kautzer 7.
I would say go on the fire.
Looks like Hannah Chipman on 8. Sarah Bullier 9. 10 is going to be Anna French. And just getting into lane 11 there, I believe that's going to be one of our junior racers from Canada. Looks like Allison Thane. Dickinson now coming through the checkpoint, 48 seconds back, so she has 26 seconds to catch Joanne Reed and stay in the hunt for the medals. Looks like clean shooting there for Kautzer, clean for Chipman, clean for Bollier, clean for Tanguay. These chasers are not letting the leaders go without a fight here. They're staying close enough that if there's any issues in the front group on the range, these leaders are still close enough, and with good shooting, they're going to be able to put the pressure on. Ariana Woods with 1 miss. She retired a few seasons ago, but she's back since the race is in her backyard. She figured she'd dust the rifle off and take a stab at the race today. She shot 0 in her first prone, and now she's got 1 penalty, so 90% shooting after prone for Ari Woods. That's good for her after not touching the rifle for a few months, potentially a few years. Sturts is also clean, Emma Sturts. As we see some Paul Smith's racers here, Kaisa Bosick on 16. I believe Bridget Rush is on 15. Then the Auburn Ski Club's Raylene Chu on 17. Bosick goes clean. Always been a fast and accurate shooter.
I still have you, Patrick. That's good, right down the line right there. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
All right, we're going to hear our leaders are coming around the range once more. They're going around to the range once more. Again, this is Chloe Levins in second place, just behind Grace Castengay.
Okay, Patrick, I'm going to throw to you in just a minute.
Castengay has not been on the podium yet this weekend, so this is a big spot for her. Both of them are pretty quality shooters, but I think we have to give the advantage to Levins. They're going face-to-face here as Castengay, the lefty, on lane 1, Levins on lane 2. Expect Levins to get the first shot off as we see Joanne Reed coming in third. Hit for Levins. Looks like Castengay misses her first shot.
I'm going to go picture-in-picture on drone.
But so does Levins. Both have one penalty, so they're going to be together around that penalty loop and going out onto the next lap. Joanne Reed lining up now. If she goes clean, she can lessen the gap between the leaders, but I don't think she's going to be able to take the lead even with clean shooting. The two leaders are going to be just a little bit too far ahead, but it does not matter as Reed, it looks like she misses her second shot. So Joanne Reed now in the penalty loop twice. As we see our picture-in-picture, our two leaders are headed back out on course now. Yeah, keep trying to follow.
Go main drone.
Is this what lap? What shooting?
That was shooting 3, so 2 more laps.
Okay, I'm gonna follow, and they're gonna come together for the final shooting. That's gonna be pretty exciting.
Okay, so
Dickinson now. The opportunity is there with Reed in the penalty loop 2 laps. 4 for 4 and clean for Kelsey Dickinson. So Kelsey Dickinson now re-enters the race for bronze. I'll give you the update. Obviously, we have Levins and Castengay. You can see them together here. But where are Reed and Dickinson?
You said shooting 3, sorry.
Yep.
So that was shooting 3.
Yep. There goes Kelsey Dickinson.
I'm gonna have to land probably.
39 seconds back. So I believe she's going to be out of the fight for the win. But she does move ahead of Joanne Reed, who's 43 seconds back. So 4 seconds are separating Reed from Dickinson. As we look back on the range now, the chasers here, Kautzer, Bollier, Tangway, and Chipman all clean in the last shooting. Kautzer starts off 2 for 2.
I'm gonna have to land.
Bollier, 2 for 2. Kautzer misses Charlie.
switching off, going to Patrick.
Bollier misses Charlie. Tangway, 4 for 4. And 5, Dulcie Tangway goes clean. So Dulcie's going to move up in front of these chase group. She's going to move into 5th place with a little bit of a gap ahead of Kautzer and Boyer, who will have 1. Chipman, unfortunately, going around with 2 penalties. So that is going to be your fight for the minor places here. As we see Dulcie Tangway heading down, there goes Kautzer after her 1 penalty, followed closely by Sarah Boyer. Now, if you follow Sarah Boyer on social media, you'll see that yesterday during the race, her binding delaminated during the race, and she had to get a new ski. That took about 3 minutes, she said. She skied the whole course with an unscraped ski and then came back into the range to change to a different ski that was too big for her. So just absolutely atrocious, terrible day for her, but she took it in stride. She realized that it was completely ridiculous circumstances, and she just laughed it off. So I'm sure she's excited to be in the fight here, 6th, 7th place. As we see the range here again, there goes Ari Woods taking off. Looks like she's got 2 penalties. Kaisa Bosick clean again. Bridget Rush and Chloe Funel on the range at the moment. So any moment now, we should have our final shooters coming into the range for the last shooting stage, and that's going to be the battle between Chloe Levens and Grace Castonguay. And yes, here they come. So this is going to be the final shooting stage for the women's mass start. As you could see in that previous drone shot, we also have our youth lined up. So it's high octane today. A lot of racing, no break. They just want to get these races done and over with. So here we go. Chloe Levens, the righty, on lane 1. Grace Castonguay, the lefty, on lane 2. They went shot for shot in the last shooting. Both had a penalty loop, but they're both skiing the same pace. As you can see, they're staying together. Both go 1 for 1. 2 for Castonguay. Miss for Levens. Miss for Castonguay. And Castonguay's on the penalty loop with 1, and so is Levens. So it's going to be a ski race on the last lap. We're going to try to stay with them to see who ends up making the move, but they both have 1 penalty loop before heading out on the last lap. As you can see, or as we'll, yeah, there we go. As we see them going around the penalty loop, you'll be able to see in just a moment that our youth are on the start line and they're going to head off. So hopefully they don't get too tangled up in this competition. It looks like our women are going to be out first. I wonder if they held the youth just for that occasion. Joanne Reed and Kelsey Dickinson are on the range now for fighting for 3rd place. We're going to keep you right here. Let's see who's got the speed under their legs. I really don't know. I can't predict who's going to win this one. I think both of these women are skiing about the same pace. But this course is so, and both Joanne Reed and Kelsey Dickinson go clean as I'm watching the skiers out on course. So that's going to be a fun battle for 3rd. We'll see who comes to the finish line first. But being such a short lap, it's a different type of skiing. It's not just about who is the fittest. It's about who has the fast twitch muscle, who's got the best balance and the best technique. As we see Chloe Levens start making her way in front of Grace Castonguay. Can Levens pull away here? Can she make the move, or can Castonguay answer. If I'm Grace Castonguay, I'm going to want to pick up the tempo here. You got to stay with her. Stay on her heels so you can get the draft on the downhill. If there's too much separation between, then you're going to lose her on the downhill. Castonguay really needs to pick up the tempo here.
You take the targets off.
Sure. Over the top now. Levens, big lead now that might be just too much for Castonguay to overcome. You can just see that Levens has just a little bit more life in her legs. Castonguay looks like she's dying. Grace Castonguay cannot give up, though. She has Kelsey Dickinson and Joanne Reed coming up behind her quickly. It's only 33 seconds to Dickinson, so if Castonguay gives up the win to Levens and just lets her go and lets off too much, she's going to let Dickinson and Reed race their way back into this. You know that Reed and Dickinson are probably going to be going cat and mouse. They're going to be playing games, but they're not going to be going slow.
You need to go.
This big right-hand turn here, this is the final climb. As we see Levens lapping some of her competitors.
Stay there, Mike.
Yeah, I'm going to show the gap.
We're going to see the gap here in just a moment after this downhill.
Huge.
Wow, Chloe Levens has really opened up a big gap. It's looking closer to 15 seconds now. Any moment, actually, we're probably going to see Levens, or we're going to see Reed and Dickinson come into frame and see how much time back Castonguay has.
Is it the front or the back? Can you tell? One's a lapped racer.
It's the front one. There's Chloe Levens, some great free skate there. She's putting she's putting the pedal to the metal all the way to the finish line. I don't know if she knows what the gap is that she's opened up on Castonguay.
It's okay.
As I'm getting word that our youth are out on course, we will bring you that competition shortly. But here comes your super sprint champion, Chloe Levens there with the orange poles, keeping the tempo high, keeping the pace high all the way to the finish line. Great last lap there, and great race from Chloe Levens and Grace Castonguay to bring it down to the final shooting, go head-to-head, and bring it down to a ski race.
Mike, you're going to follow them all the way in.
Yep.
So here she comes down to the finishing stretch. It's your champion, Chloe Levens. She won the sprint race on Thursday. Came in second yesterday in the mass start. But she's back here today across the finish line in first with an absolutely great final lap, great shooting, great performance all around. And here comes Grace Castonguay. Finally makes her way on the podium here at these Senior National Championships. Just could not match. She just could not match the speed. Stay wide. As we see the final sprint coming down the finish line for Dickinson and Reed, it looks like Dickinson's going to be in the lead there. Reed has nothing to answer, and so that's your podium. Kelsey Dickinson stays ahead of Joanne Reed, and it's going to be Levens, Castonguay, and Dickinson, followed very closely by Joanne Reed. What a great race here to finish up our season. This is the last race of the season for all these athletes. As you can see Joanne there, pretty exhausted after that effort against Dickinson. And some good sportsmanship from Levens and Castonguay. What an exciting finale to the season, with an absolutely great super sprint mass start. What a fun event. The short penalty loop keeps everyone in it. Even if you have one or two misses, you're not totally out of it. And one good shooting stage is all you need to come back.
I think we're going to start having youth come in.
Yeah. Oh,
I
once they come into the range,
I'll throw to 2.
we should put the. Now we just need to have the square up properly.
And you can see just the strength that these women had over their competitors. As I think we're about to see, it looks like that's a VI, a visually impaired skier with his guide coming through the finish line. But the gap that these 4 women had over their competitors is outstanding in such a short and fast competition.
Yeah, I think the first guys in are
The chasers for these top 4 women were there up until the end, but with good shooting, and obviously, you know, they had to put the pedal to the metal on the last lap in order to get the places that they did. You can really see them drop the hammer on that chase group and really seal the deal, close the door on anyone who thought they could match the power of these front 4. So those are your 2 senior races. Senior men and senior women are done. The season is over for them. As we are watching some of the finishers come into the finish, and any moment now we should see our first youth. I think it's our youth men who are out on course right now.
Should I follow them now?
Yeah.
Looks like we have youth men and youth women all mixed up into one wave, so we'll do our best to give you the splits and keep you updated on how the races are going for the different genders. But you can also follow along at muddydogsports.com. You can follow the live timing there. Here they come into the first prone stage. Again, the youth racing the exact same distance, doing the exact same race, with Gray Melichek from the Anchorage Biathlon Club up in Anchorage, Alaska, leading the way over his Canadian rivals. Yesterday in the youth men's competition, these Canadians from Foothills Nordic Ski Club swept the podium. So you know the Alaskans are really going to do everything they can to break that up today. There's plenty of Alaskans in the race today that they are eligible for a sweep as well. So we'll see how it goes. We have 3, 4, and clean shooting for Benjamin Jones from that Foothills Nordic Ski Club. Everyone else seems to be on the podium. 2 for Melichek, 1 for Gavin Burke from the Foothills Nordic Ski Club, and many more with 1 miss as I look down the line. So it is going to be Benjamin Jones in first place. He's got a little bit of a lead over this chase group right here that's just headed past the checkpoint and out on course. That's going to be Elias Watson from Anchorage Biathlon Club, just ahead of Gavin Berg and Killian Bain. 2 Foothills Nordic Ski Club members that were on the podium yesterday. Now, Elias Watson, I checked in with him at the banquet last night. He did not race because he was feeling too fatigued from the sprint on Thursday. Coming from Anchorage, this altitude racing does not, it's tough for him. You know, it's hard for him to come from a low altitude and race at this high altitude. But a lot of these Anchorage folks are also going straight from Bozeman here to to Leotopen, Norway, to compete in the Leotopen Youth Ski and Biathlon Festival. So with the altitude and the fatigue that Watson was feeling, he decided to sit it out yesterday. So he's coming into this race a little bit more fresh than his Canadian rivals, who you can see in line on the right there. Watson on the left, taking the inside of the turn. Watson, a great shooter. I've had the pleasure of working with Elias Watson at some of our youth camps over the summer, and he is a fast and accurate shooter.
What's that?
So this is his day. He definitely wanted to save up for this event. I'll keep you updated on the youth women as well.
We're good. We're just keep
We have Brenna Barton in first place for the youth women over Ava Hay and Abigail Van Dorn, 12 seconds back. So we'll keep you updated on the youth women as well. But our top 3 for youth women: Brenna Barton, yesterday's champion, over Abigail Van Dorn and Ava Hay. Remember, Ava yesterday was leading into the last shooting stage of the mass start, but ultimately ended up crossfiring, which means she shot the wrong target. So, for example, if she lines up on lane 20, but she shoots on target 21, that's called crossfiring. She was penalized, not only penalized 30 seconds for that based on, the rules, but also you have to ski 5 penalty loops for each shot that you crossfire, and it wasn't, unfortunately, until the end of that shooting that she realized she crossfired, so that was 5 penalty laps for her, plus the 30-second penalty. So Ava, unfortunately, missing out on the podium yesterday, but obviously is in it here to win it. And then we had Abigail Van Dorn, who's currently in third, 12 seconds back, only about 14 seconds up on Rowan Tangway, who was they were second and third yesterday after the mishap on the range by Hay. As we're watching, I believe our youth men's leader, looks like that is going to be Benjamin Jones.
What's that?
The range official, when we go over the stretching, it's almost like she was doing this. And then she looked behind her.
As we see Jones coming into the range now, the sun is starting to shine. This is good for the organizers and good for the spectators, but not so good necessarily for the competitors, because it's going to mean that the snow is going to start getting pretty slow out there.
I was just going to say maybe drop down one.
Pulling up some stats on Benjamin Jones here. He is a pretty strong athlete, pretty strong skier. He does not have any IBU results, so he has not raced on the Junior Cup or at the Junior World Championships, but he has a slew of results under the regional event category, where he's got plenty of 1s and 2s next to his name. So he's definitely capable of performing at the highest level against the best athletes from North America. Takes a little second there to gather his breath and gather his thoughts as his teammates, Killian, and his teammates there from Foothills. It's Killian and Gavin setting up next to him. There in lane 4 is Elias Watson. Jones goes 2 for 3, 4 for 4. And Jones misses his last shot, so Jones on the penalty loop with 2 penalties. Here come the chasers. Watson, 1 hit. 2, I told you he's going to be fast with it. 3 for Watson on lane 4. And Watson misses his 4th shot, so Watson on the penalty loop. He's not going to close the door at all. Gavin Burke looks like he's having an atrocious time with 4 penalties for Burke. I think he's going to be out of it, but with this youth age group, stuff like this can happen all the time. Whoever's in the lead could end up having 4 and relinquishing the lead just like that with this younger, less experienced age group. So Gavin Burke, even though he's got 4 on that stage, he's not out of it yet. He is also a good skier, so he can get himself back into it. As we see all 4 of them in the penalty loop, I wonder if they're looking at each other like, oh, you missed too? So did I. But as they come through, we're going to check Muddy Dog Sports to see what the splits are looking like here. And in first place, it is going to be Elias Watson. I told you, fast shooting and accurate shooting is going to be his friend today. He's got 1.6 seconds over Benjamin Jones. You see him there. Let's take a look back at the range now, see if we can see how our women are doing. Ava Hay there on lane 11. We're looking for Brenna Barton as well. There's Barton on lane 13. So if you're looking for the top women, you're looking for lanes 11, 13, and 14. Hay starts with a hit. Barton, a quality shooter from the prone shooting. She can be solid in the standing, but is known to have a few wild stages. Hay goes 4 for 5, so she's going to be in the penalty loop. Don't have data on Barton yet. There she goes, and Van Dorn. Both of them hit their first shot. Van Dorn, 2 for 2. Barton must have some penalties. Barton does miss her second shot. Van Dorn 3 for 3. Is Van Dorn going to move into fighting for the lead? Don't forget, Hay is on the penalty loop with 1 penalty. Van Dorn from Lake Placid goes clean. Abigail Van Dorn is going to move into fighting for the lead. We're going to see if Hay can get around the penalty loop in time to maintain her lead, but Abby Van Dorn is going to be right on her. Barton on the penalty loop with 2 misses. Rowan Tangway is still on the range, so I think Barton's going to maintain her spot on the podium as Rowan Tangway has 3. Tilly Lang is yet to shoot. So I believe the top 3 are going to remain. It's just a matter of this lead. Who is going to come out first? Ava Hay does come out first, even though Van Dorn shot clean. Ava Hay is back on course. Van Dorn 8.2 seconds back. So we're going to see when they come in for their 3rd shooting stage and shooting standing. First, we're going to see how the skiing is going. Is Van Dorn going to be able to close that 8-second gap, or are they going to maintain the same pace? And second, it's all going to shake up in the standings. Some athletes, especially at these younger age groups, they only shoot prone when they're younger. So some of them have the prone dialed. We can see some pretty good prone shooting at these younger age groups, but it's the standing. Some of these athletes might have only been shooting standing for 2 years or a season, or depending on when they got into biathlon, some of them probably only shooting standing for less than a year. So the standing shooting is really going to shake things up, but we have a pretty fun race going on here with Elias Watson and Benjamin Jones only separated by 1.6 seconds. Killian Bain in 3rd place, 12.4 back. We're probably going to see those guys coming into the shooting range pretty soon. And then on the women's side, Ava Hay and Abigail Van Dorn separated by 8.2 seconds. And they have a pretty decent lead over Brenna Barton, who is still in 3rd for the youth women. But now she's 46 seconds back with those 2 misses that she had. But she does have a pretty decent buffer over Rowan Tangway.
That we're just having to do so many batteries. Which is how
Yeah. So as we are watching the range here, as we were watching our final, or some of our back of the pack athletes shooting, we want to appreciate everyone's patience today. We're doing a lot of battery changes of the drone. We got so much great feedback from people watching this weekend, saying that the drone footage is amazing, which I totally agree. Problem is we just have to keep switching that battery out. So we want to try to give you good course footage and let you know what's happening out on the race course. But we have to bring the drone back in for some battery changes every once in a while, as it looks like we have some leaders entering the range here. It looks like it is Elias Watson and Benjamin Jones. So they're coming in for their first standing shooting here. Wind starting to pick up a little bit as the clouds have gone and the sun has started to poke out. Still cannot see Bridger Bowl from the range. It's still foggy up in the mountains, but the sun is poking through as it looks like, is that Killian Bain who's joined them? Yes, it is. So here's our top 3 competitors, and it's Gray Melishek who's actually also in there fighting for 4th. So 2 for 2 for Jones and Watson. Both missed their Charlie target and both hit the rest. So the door is open for Bain. Can Bain close the door? Looks like he's missed his Charlie target as well. So the top 3 athletes all in the penalty loop with 1. Let's go Gray Melishek. Can he go clean here and really close the door on this deficit here? This would be a great comeback. Gray goes 2 for 2, but he misses his Charlie target as well, hits his 4th, and now he's got to hit the last one to stay with it. He does. So the top 4 all have 1 penalty loop. Gavin Burke, he needs to go at least 4 to maintain his spot, but there's your top 4. First 2 back out on course. That is Watson and Jones, followed very closely by Bain. As you see Melishek doing everything he can to jump through as we lose the range data here. But it doesn't matter. Our first 2 are out on course, and followed closely by 3rd. So the battle for the podium, the full podium is being battled for right now, which is absolutely awesome biathlon racing for us. Hopefully we can get our shooting data back by the time the women come in. We probably have another 40 seconds or so before they're back. We have a lot of different systems talking to each other right now. So sometimes we lose data from the range, but we'll do our best to get it back as soon as we can. As we see, our top three are all on top of each other now, so there's no gap separating anyone in the top three. Gray Melichek coming up behind the range there. He's going to do everything he can to get back into the fight here.
I'm going to go to firing range, Mike.
Yeah.
That's good.
As we come back to the range, I'm sure we're going to start seeing some of our women, if not on the range, coming through the range pretty soon. As we see some of our later youth men. Looks like we have Ava Hay on the shooting line now. We don't have the shooting data back, so we're going to keep an eye on the penalty loop to see how many she does. She just put her rifle back on, so there she goes. We'll know in a moment how many penalties she has. Again, she had a 8-second lead over Abigail Van Dorn. So Abby probably on the range right now as well.
At some point, these batteries are not, like, it's just doing return to home. Like, these batteries, I charged them all last night, and they're all jacked.
Looks like Ava Hay does go around the penalty loop.
How many more categories, waves do we have?
So Ava Hay does leave the penalty loop in first place. We're waiting on Abigail Van Dorn to come through. She was only 8 seconds back. I believe I see her in the penalty loop right now, so she's letting the lead go here. Hay is keeping it together on the front of the race here, but we know yesterday tragedy struck for her as we see another wave taking off. I think these are going to be our U17s, so hopefully they don't get too jumbled up with the current race going on. Van Dorn is into third now for the youth women because Brenna Barton jumps in front of her. So for the youth women, we have Ava Hay in first, 36 seconds ahead of Brenna Barton, and then 43 seconds back of Hay is Van Dorn. So we have a good battle going on in the youth women's race between Van Dorn and Barton, with Hay pulling away. But again, we saw the chaos yesterday on the range. Got to Hay a little bit. She crossfired, gave up the lead. So anything can happen as we do have one shooting stage left. And don't forget, our top three boys, Benjamin Jones, Elias Watson, and Killian Bain, are all separated by nothing. They were separated by 4 seconds. They were separated by 4 seconds, but we saw the drone before we came back to the parking lot. The drone captured all three of them skiing together. So there's nothing separating the top three for the youth men. As we see Tilly Lang taking off from the range here.
Well, we can just stay here for camera 2, and then I have.
I'm probably going to hang above the finish, and then I can shoot into the range and do the overhead shot. Like, I'm just not going to, right now there's so much going on, I think I'm going to hang above the finish and get.
Yeah, here's our last boys for last shooting here.
So here come our boys for the last shooting. Bib 61, Killian Bain. We don't have our shooting data yet. Bib 63 is talking to Bain now. That's Benjamin Jones. Wonder what was going on there as we see the two Alaska boys, Elias Watson and Gray Melichek, on the hunt. We don't have their shooting data for you, so we'll let you know how it goes after the penalty. We'll see if there's any emotion coming out of these guys. Despite the talking, 63 is out quickly, followed by 86. Neither of them looked super excited. So we have Jones and Watson are out. Both of them go into the penalty loop. All four of these boys are in the penalty loop right now. We're waiting to see who comes out first. Gray Melichek with some speed. Maybe he feels like he has a minute. Look at the chaos in the penalty loop. Who's going to be the first one to come out? Is that Jones? No, it's Elias Watson. Elias Watson from Anchorage Biathlon Club takes the lead after shooting number 4. The rest of his competitors are still leaving the penalty loop now. Watson looks exhausted. Jones and Bain are right behind him, and Melichek is coming around the loop now. Does Melichek have enough to get on the podium with his Alaska teammate? Does Watson have enough to keep the lead? He's only got 9 seconds over Jones and Bain, and that's about how much time he lost on the last lap. We saw them leave the penalty loop together, and they came in, the two Canadians came in ahead of Watson. So it's going to be a tight race down the finish stretch here. As we're watching some of our U17s, we'll keep you updated on the U17 race, but we're still looking for our youth women, and we'll keep you updated there. But we definitely want to see if the Canadian boys of Jones and Bain can hunt down Elias Watson from Anchorage Biathlon Club. As we see some of our U17s demonstrating the U17 procedure here of dropping the rifle off. That was Soren Hughesby and Willett Ritchie from Crosscut Mountain Sports Center taking off. Looks like they both went into the penalty loop, unfortunately. But we're looking for Ava Hay. She should be standing shooting. Looked like she was going with the shorts today. As we just see the excitement in the U17 race. I believe we have Ava Hay on the shooting lane now. You can see her in the distance there, shooting, standing. There's Hay. Looks like she's going to be on lane 17. Again, our data from the range is not back yet, so we'll let you know how she does after the shooting when she jumps into the penalty loop. If she does, look up to the top left of your screen. We have Brenna Barton now. As there goes Hay, taking off from the range. We'll see if she goes into the penalty loop or not. Barton is in the range, and she has a very slight lead on Abigail Van Dorn, who's right behind her. Here comes Hay, leaving the range now. She's got Coach cheering her on. Wait, go back, look back. And Hay goes into the penalty loop. We'll see how many she has.
Are the men finishing it pretty soon?
Yeah, probably.
I'll try to keep. I don't know. I don't really have a view down that way.
Okay.
I can just.
I mean, you
I'm gonna
can.
pull- I'm gonna
And
pull
there
out.
goes Ava Hay out of the penalty loop, so she is going to be your leader for the youth women's race. I'll let you know about Barton and Van Dorn as we get this wide angle so we can see down the finishing stretch when our boys come out of the woods. Remember, Elias Watson only had a 9-second lead over the Canadians. Here comes Barton now leaving the range. She makes her way into the penalty loop, so she's not going to be able to battle Hay, but it's a matter of staying ahead of Van Dorn, who's now exiting the range. It's going to be a tight battle for second place in the youth women's race. Van Dorn now, side to side with one of the youth men, goes into the penalty loop. Barton with the red cap going around for a second one. Again, we're keeping an eye on the left side of the screen too, looking for our youth men to be coming out of the woods any moment now. And there goes Abby Van Dorn. She has a big lead over Brenna Barton, who goes back in for another penalty loop. So Abigail Van Dorn goes out in second place, and we're going to cut over to the finish line here. Who's coming down the home stretch? Is it going to be Benjamin Jones? It looks like the Canadian boys were able to jump in front of Watson in third place there. Who's going to be in front? Is it Bain? Is it Jones? Waiting for the finish line. It's Bain, Killian Bain, your champion, just over Benjamin Jones and Elias Watson from Anchorage. Great last lap for Killian Bain. He's exhausted. He collapses as he crosses the finish line. He put everything he had into that last lap. Good race for Jones and Watson as well to fight. There's Gray Melichek, fourth place. Unfortunately, just one too many penalties for Melichek, and he could not keep up with these leading three. So what a great way to finish off for those Canadian boys. But good race for Elias Watson as well to break up that Canadian sweep and get onto the podium after not racing yesterday due to a little bit of fatigue. So we're going to go back to the live results here, and I'll keep you updated. We saw the top three for the youth women. Ava Hay had a commanding lead over the rest of the field. Second place, 1 minute back, is Abigail Van Dorn. And finally, coming out of the penalty loop, 1:46 back is Brenna Barton. Unfortunately, with this loop being so short, I don't think any of these ladies are going to be able to catch the person in front of them. So I believe that's going to be your podium. It's going to be Hay, it's going to be Van Dorn, and then Barton.
Okay, I'm going to go to the range. Going live too.
On the U17 side, we saw some excitement there after the first shooting, but on the U17 side, Soren Huseby and Willett Ritchie separated by 10 seconds after shooting number one. As Ritchie actually just took the lead from Huseby, as they have already shot on lane 1 and 2. This is third and fourth place here, fighting on their second shooting. But it's going to be Ritchie who takes the lead over Huseby after shooting number 2. Hopefully we'll catch their standing shooting as the race progresses now that the youth have finished up their competition, or are finishing up their competition, I should say. But Coulter Anderson was in third place for the youth for the U17 after shooting number 1. Huseby now leaving the range, 31 seconds back at Ritchie. So back and forth for the Crosscut Mountain Sports Center boys, but they have a commanding lead over the chasers.
Women should be coming in.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out to let you know when our winner comes through.
I will. Because there'll be men coming in there, so I can tell the difference. This could be her.
So just waiting for the red race suit of Ava Hay to make her way across the finish line. Zachary Stark for Crosscut Mountain Sports Center moves his way into third place in the U17 men's category. So after two shootings, Ritchie, Huseby, and Stark, Crosscut Mountain Sports Center boys are sweeping the podium at the moment. Looking down the line at the U17 women, our two-time back-to-back champion in the first two races, Trillian Klinkhammer, is in the lead for the youth women. She has a 1:24 lead over Annika LaRoche. As we see our winner of the youth women coming down the line, there is Ava Hay. Keeps her nerve on the range today and seals the deal. Ava Hay, your youth women's winner. Great racing this weekend from Hay. I know she had trouble on the range yesterday with that crossfire situation, but these are situations that you have to learn as a young athlete, stuff that's going to happen. You need to know how to react to it. As we see another finisher coming through, you got to learn how to react to it. Whether you're the one doing the crossfiring or you're crossfiring on someone else, stuff happens and you got to learn to adapt. And it's better to learn at these younger ages. It's better to learn when it's, it's just the U17 category or the youth category at U.S. Nationals, and you don't experience it for the first time at Junior World Championships, for example. That would be terrible. Second in line here, we have Abigail Van Dorn from NYSEF from Lake Placid, New York, coming out here to claim silver today. Great racing from Abigail Van Dorn. Crosses the finish line in second, and she is going to be second place for the youth women. And then we're just waiting on one more to fill out the podium for the youth women. Looking for the local Crosscut Mountain Sports Center athlete, Brenna Barton. She should be coming out of the woods here any moment now with her blue suit and red cap.
I think that's her right there.
Yeah. As we see Soren Hughesby go by in the background there. So that tells me we're probably going to get some of our leaders for the U17 boys competition on the range. And there we have the shot from the range here. There's Willett Ritchie shooting standing. I'll give you his, we'll keep an update on his shooting as he goes through the penalty loop. Ritchie in the lead here for the U17s as we see our volunteers furiously trying to keep that range alive as the sun is now out and shining. Brenna Barton making her way to the finish line for third in the youth women. There she is. Great racing for Barton. Took home the win yesterday. But now we go back. Maybe we can get a wide shot.
2 minutes. Okay. Oh, do you want to watch it?
Yeah,
I'm good.
Hughesby on the range now, seeing if he can go match Ritchie as we see Ritchie go into the penalty loop. Hughesby now off the point. Is Hughesby going to be able to close the door? He's got a little spark in his legs. Little life in his legs. Maybe he had some good shooting there. That's going to allow him to close that door. Ritchie going around for another lap. Hughesby dropping the rifle. Again, at the U17 level, we like to keep the rifles near the range because we want to promote fast skiing and good technique. Here's Ritchie now in the penalty loop, and he is back out on course.
Okay. Gonna throw to range.
Yep.
yeah, I'm gonna go.
You can have to pick something.
So Ritchie back out on course now. Head on over to muddydogsports.com to keep updated on all the live timing if you're looking to follow along at home. I'll keep you updated with what I see. So far, Hughesby still in the penalty loop. As we see bib 96 here, that's Coulter Anderson. He is currently in fourth place, and he was behind Zachary Stark, who just took lane number 2 there. So Coulter Anderson has passed Zachary Stark, and now he's in third place. Hughesby back out on course, 30 seconds back of Ritchie. So the gap between Hughesby and Ritchie is maintaining. They were about 30 seconds apart before. We'll hopefully get you some updates as people come through. There goes Stark. Stark is on the range here, bib 101. Now Anderson took off. Get down into the younger age groups. These athletes have less and less experience shooting standing. Again, we always start athletes shooting prone to really build the fundamentals, the sight alignment, the setup, the trigger squeeze, everything that you need to do in biathlon can be learned in the prone, and then it's a matter of translating that to the standing. So a lot of these athletes are new to the standing shooting, so expect a few more misses from the standing stages for these younger athletes. We have a little bit of a gap now as we see the picture-in-picture of the penalty loop. That is Coulter Anderson and Zach Stark going around. As we see from this view, we have some athletes lining up at the start line for another start. We're going fast and non-stop here today. We're going wave after wave. We're going to do the best that we can to cover. No, 3 left. We're going the best we can to give you the coverage that you deserve back at home. But with these races starting back to back to back with no rest in between, we got to do our best to let some of the cameras charge. As we're seeing some, looks like Emma Pearson crossing the finish line. She is a Crosscut Mountain Sports Center athlete, youth woman. Yeah. As we look back over to the range here, bib number 98, big and tall Thomas Coulter Sloan from Crosscut. So we just got word that we do have a 5-minute delay for the next start, which actually gives us, from the broadcast booth, a little bit of breathing room. But if you're at home wondering where your racer is in this next competition that'll be wave 6. That's going to be all the U15 boys and girls. So if you're wondering what's going on, we got a 5-minute delay there. Should be going off in about 4 minutes. Well, what great racing we've had today. Let's just recap what's been going on so far today. In our senior men's competition, it came down to the wire between Bjorn Westervelt and Jake Brown. Jake Brown and Paul Schomer fighting for 2 and 3. But your podium for the senior men, Bjorn Westervelt, Jake Brown, Craftsbury Green Racing Project, third place Paul Schomer. The junior men's category, Thor Shepard, Theo Castonguay from Team Soldier Hollow, and Cale Woods from Crosscut Mountain Sports Center. Then we saw some excellent racing on the women's side. Chloe Levins and Grace Castonguay on the final shooting stage going head-to-head, both with a penalty loop, but Chloe Levins being able to outski her teammate and rival on the last lap to take the win. So the podium ended up being Levins, Castonguay, and then Kelsey Dickinson was able to outski Joanne Reed after the two of them shot clean on the last shooting stage to close that gap from the first two, but it just was not enough. Today, being the super sprint competition, we're using a shorter course. And so they just didn't have enough room to close the gap on Levins and Castonguay. So your top three, again, for the senior women was Levins, Castonguay, and Dickinson. Junior women, Allison Thane, we didn't see too much of her as she was in the middle of the pack for the senior race, the senior and junior women racing together. But Allison Thane from Camrose beating out Bridget Rush from Paul Smith's College and Chloe Fennell from Camrose. But then we just saw some really exciting racing on the youth side as well. Ava Hay from Camrose Nordic Ski Club winning the youth women's category over Abigail Van Dorn and Brenna Barton. And then in the youth men's side, a great battle between two Anchorage Biathlon Club and Foothills Nordic Ski Club athletes. Gray Melichek, Elias Watson for Anchorage, Ben Jones for Foothills, and Killian Bain for Foothills. But it was the Canadians from Foothills Nordic that were able to pull back the lead that Watson had as we were watching the start of our wave number 5 on the day. I believe it's wave number 5, but we're watching the start here of our U15 category. So the age groups just keep getting younger and younger out here. So our U15 racers are out on course. We'll do our best to follow them and their performance today. But what a great, going back to the youth men's competition, what a great battle out there. The Foothills Nordic athletes were able to take the win. Killian Bain over Benjamin Jones. They were able to pass Watson, who had the lead coming out of the range after the last shooting. But Watson being just far enough ahead of his Anchorage teammate, Melichek, to go 3 and 4 for our Anchorage folks there. But at the finish line, we do have Soren Huseby and Willett Ritchie across the line in first and second for the Crosscut Mountain Sports Center, only separated by 11 seconds, so it looks like that race came down to the wire. Soren Huseby and Willett Ritchie go 1 and 2 in the U17 men's category. As we see our finish line here, waiting to see who's going to come in third for our U17 men. Trillian Klinkhammer has a pretty commanding lead over Annika LaRoche on the U17 women's side, so I think that's going to be your 1-2 there. And I think if this looks correct, I think we only have 2 U17 women anyway, so that's going to be your podium. But still waiting for third place here on the U17 men. After shooting at number 4, we did have Cole Flint from Anchorage Biathlon just ahead of Dominic Lemmy.
Looks like they're gearing up for someone to cross. I think they're leaning. Yeah,
But Flint only had a 3-second lead over Lemmy. Who's this across the line? Looks like it's going to be bib number 93. Is that 95. Reed Scott?
95, I think. 93 is the second. 95. Or I don't know if they're two different.
There's Reed Scott. We'll go back over to the results here. Get the
91 cross.
exact answer. And it was Dominic Lemmy from Foothills Nordic who was able to beat out Reed Scott. And there's Cole Flint. Oh, he gave up 2 places on the last lap, so he had to have been fighting with everything that he had.
Do you want me to cut that?
Yeah, sure. He was fighting with everything that he had to maintain his spot in third, and he just unfortunately gave it up as we cut back over to the range to see bib 111 here in our U15 category. That's going to be great. Rotbauer, he won yesterday. As we see also 2 women from Crosscut in our U15 race. 112, that's going to be Allie McDonald. As we got our shooting data back too, that's a huge plus on the production side. But unfortunately, Gray is going to take off with 4 penalties. Shorter penalty loop today, only 75 meters, but a penalty is a penalty, and it still hurts to do those laps. Good shooting there on lane number 2 by 113. Cohen Madison. 113 there. Cohen Matson, Allie McDonald, 112 and 110. Oh, I'm sorry, that was 104. Maya Bontadelli, she has been on the podium in several of both of the first 2 races. So all of our leaders that we saw in the sprint competition, all the leaders that we saw from the sprint competition and the mass start competition are making their way towards the front of the field here in the U15 category. You can follow along at home at muddydogsports.com. Everyone is in the penalty loop right now. Nobody's come through the checkpoint. But I'll keep you updated. As we see the carousel in the penalty loop there.
Like the other picture, the one of... Yeah. Oh, I guess that's good.
And we got people coming in here.
As we see the steady stream of U15s going around the penalty loop. Grayson Rotbauer, even with his 4 penalty loops, is going to be out first. He has a small lead over Owen Hemming of 5.7 seconds. But it's Brooklyn Baltz who takes the lead for the U15 women, a name that we have not said yet. She is in the lead by 2.6 seconds over Allie McDonald. So in the men's race, the top 3 are separated by 14 seconds. That's Rotbauer and Hemming over third place being Cohen Matson. First place, Brooklyn Baltz over Allie McDonald in the women's race, just ahead of third place, Emery Balden, 7.6 seconds back. Allison Berry, 12 seconds back. So the U15 women's competition is going to be pretty tight here. Rebecca Burke, 18 seconds back. Scranton, 19 seconds back. So a lot of women there's 6 women within 20 seconds in the U15 women's category. So we're going to follow them and see how that race pans out. But so far, Not much shakeup in the standings after the first shooting, so my guess is all of them probably shot relatively similarly. Well, we'll see them come back here only doing a 1K loop, so they'll be back here in approximately 4 minutes or less. All right, we're back on range here. I believe this is going to be Rotbauer coming in to shooting. Yes, it is. So here's our U17 men's leader coming into lane number 1. Lefty. We got quite a few lefties in the field today. Wind flags are pushing left, but they look pretty consistent. So hopefully he's able to take a few clicks. We'll see if he has the experience and the maturity to make that correction. He did have 4 penalty loops in his first shooting, but he maintained the lead as he misses his first 2. So the door is going to be open for Bibs 113. That's going to be Cohen Matson and Owen Hemming on lanes 2 and 3. But there's our women. Emery Balden moves up from 4th place as there goes Rotbauer with 3 misses. Balden moves up many places because I think she was 4th or 5th place after shooting number 1. There's Allie McDonald in lane 5 and Allison Berry in 6. Brooklyn Baltz, who was our leader after shooting number 1, is now lane 7. Looks like she's 4th for women, but she does hit her first shot. Cohen Matson having some trouble on lane 2 as Owen Hemming with 1 penalty. He might take the lead from Rotbauer, who has 3 penalties. Looking for Allie McDonald to go clean. And McDonald is out with 1 penalty, so nobody goes clean on this one. So it's going to be a tight race after the penalty loop after this one as well. Again, all the splits can be found on muddydogtiming.com, but I'll keep you updated. So far, nobody out of the penalty loop. We have all the penalty loop people going around right now. It's going to get pretty busy in there. As we see our first 2 athletes out of the penalty loop now, that is going to be Grayson Rotbauer, followed very closely by Owen Hemming. So Owen Hemming does leave the range in 2nd place, even with his better shooting. 1.6 seconds back. I got to believe he might lose some time, though, to Rotbauer, who Grayson looks like he's skiing very well out there. Even with his 4 penalties in his first stage, he's maintaining his lead. So Hemming, if I'm Hemming here, I just got to keep focused on the shooting, keep hitting my targets, and just keep racing my own race. Moving down the list now, Allie McDonald and Brooklyn Baltz, or I guess Allie McDonald is out, so she has a lead for the U15 Women. Waiting on second place, there goes Allison Berry now, 30 seconds back. So McDonald now has a decent-sized lead in the U15 women's category. Baltz now 36 seconds back. Scranton, fourth place, 43 seconds back. So the fight for second place in the U15 category is still alive and well, but McDonald is taking control of this race. She's 30 seconds up now, and with the 75-meter penalty loop taking less time than the normal 150, you got to believe McDonald has about a penalty loops advantage over her competitors. Is she going to need it? I don't know. So far, she's been demonstrating that she has good command on the range. So she might not even need that one penalty loop. She might go clean to finish out this race. Reminder here for those watching at home. The U15 category shoots 4 times. In the first 2 bouts, they shoot prone on the small targets like normal, like our World Cup heroes. But in the second 2 bouts, they continue shooting prone, but now on the big targets, on the standing targets. So the chance of missing later on in the race is a lot less because it's a larger margin of error as they're shooting on the bigger targets. The reason for this, again, along with not skiing with the rifle, it's in order to promote the competition, promote the fun of it. It's never fun doing penalty loops. So we promote the good, the good hits. We promote the fun of hitting the target and the competition out on course, and hopefully keep them engaged for a lifetime of biathlon. But it definitely does put a lot of emphasis on the early shooting. Any difference that happens in the early part of the race when they're shooting on the prone targets, it becomes very hard to make up. As we now look back to the start line, here is our Masters A category, men and women. This is going to be a pretty fun one. Yesterday we saw tons of drama. Mark Shepard, a clear favorite to win today, was leading after shooting number 3 yesterday, and in a quoting him, senior moment, he could not remember if he needed to do 2 penalty loops or 3 penalty loops, even though he only had to do 2. After basically going down this hill that they're going down right now, making his way around the turn, he decided he had to go back and do a third one just in case. He did not want to incur the 2-minute penalty if he missed a penalty loop, so he went backwards on the course up to the penalty loop, did a third penalty loop unnecessarily, and relinquished the lead to Doug Dreisen and Ian Twomley. And Shepard ultimately ended up coming in third, even though he had the lead after shooting number 3. So I talked to Mark after the race. I think he's pretty upset by the situation that unfolded. I mean, it was 100% his fault. So he's probably more upset at himself than anything. But what that is telling me here today is Mark Shepard is out for blood. I think he wants the win today. He knows he could have won yesterday. But the situation that unfolded leaves him hungry for more.
What do you kind of want to follow now?
As we're getting some beautiful shots up the canyon, you can see that the clouds are lifting. That's looking back towards Bozeman now from the Crosscut Mountain Sports Center up here in the canyon. As we're following two leaders, I believe these are Masters men. Tough to see who it is from this far away, but we're just getting a beautiful shot of the venue here. Looking like, wow, there's a lot of dirt on the course out there. But I'm looking at Mark Shepard in the lead here, and I think Ian Twomley. Looks like Shepard and Twomley are pulling away.
Looks like they're going to short course.
As they're making that far loop back towards the range. Looks like the Masters are only doing the 1K as well, so the Masters race is going to go off pretty quickly, as we're only approximately not even 3 minutes into the race, and they're already coming back into their first shooting. So we got the picture-in-picture of the range here, so I'll let you know how the the U15s are doing. And as I look down at the splits right now, Owen Hemming has actually taken the lead in the U15 men's competition. He is now 24 seconds up over Grayson Rotbauer. So what did I tell you? Hemming just has to focus on himself, hit the targets, and he's going to continue moving up in the ranks. Rotbauer is having some trouble on the range. 24 seconds is the gap there. On the women's side, Allie McDonald still in first place, 36 seconds up on Allison Berry. Scranton, 59 seconds back. Baltz, a minute and 2. So still a battle for second place, but Berry is starting to bury her competition. Or McDonald is starting to bury the competition. As we watch, a few clicks left, at least 4 clicks left, because we had we had no wind during zero. I love this shot right here. We're going to see if we can keep this shot right here to see the gap between Dreisen, Mailer, Halligan. Where are the chasers? Here they come into the range now. We're going to take a look. I got to believe that Shepard has a little bit more experience than Twomley. We're going to see if that pays off, see if it helps him taking the correct amount of clicks. Shepard misses the first shot, but he hits his second. Same with Twomley. They're going shot for shot on the first prone here. 2 hits for Twomley. Twomley's actually taking the lead. Shepard hits his third, or his fourth. And there goes Shepard with 2 penalty loops. Same with Twomley. So the 2 leaders are going to be together. Can Doug Dreisen on lane 3 maintain the pace that these 2 are pushing? Yes, he can. Dreisen's going to have an advantage, but he's not skiing as fast as the other 2. Weichler on lane 4 hits his first shot, goes 2 for 2. Mark Tereski did not shoot yet, but Sebastian White on lane 6 pops off with only 1 penalty loop, so he's going to give himself an advantage here. As we're looking down the range, any more good shooting? I see 3 hits on lane 9. That is going to be Eric Larson, I believe is the name, and he goes clean. So lane 9 is going to give himself a big advantage. We're going to check in on the penalty loop here and on the live splits, see if anyone has come out of the penalty loop yet. We're waiting for Dreisen, or for Shepard and Twomley, but it's Doug Dreisen that takes the lead. As we see our Masters women coming into lane 1, 2, and 3, we'll keep you updated on their shooting. But after shooting number 1 for the men, it's Dreisen and Shepard with a 7-second lead over Sebastian White. Twomley 10 seconds back. Eric Lamy in 5th, 17 seconds back. So the top 4 again are pulling away from the competitors. 10 seconds separate the top 4. As we look back on the range on the lower end, Janelle Webb goes 2 for 2 from the Auburn Ski Club. Sabine Arnold with a hit. Arnold was a good shooter yesterday. She left the range in first place, but she got beat on the last lap by her competitor. It was Cassie Knight who beat her yesterday on the skis, but I don't see Cassie Knight in the order today. Janelle Webb takes off with 2 penalties, Sabine Arnold with 1. So Webb has the lead on the skis, but she's going to have to do 2 penalties. Who is that on lane 4? With 4 hits. Good shooting there. But our women's race, I believe, is going to be a battle between Sabine Arnold and Janelle Webb. We'll keep you updated.
Where do you want me to be?
I'd say. So as we see the merry-go-round on the 75-meter penalty loop, we have not had any women come through the checkpoint yet after the first shooting. So my guess is it's going to be Sabine Arnold and Janelle Webb who are going to be in the lead. And it is Arnold. Arnold just comes through the penalty loop, 5.8 seconds over on Webb. Where's Jennifer Higgins? Because Higgins and Blanky were battling at the front of the field the last couple races, so you got to believe that they're going to join the fight at the front as well.
No.
Yeah.
Do you need
They're gonna put them on lanes 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so I'll keep. I kind of see them up there.
So the first two women are separated by 6 seconds. The first 4 men in the Masters men competition are separated by 10 seconds. So we have 2 great races developing in the Masters categories. Maybe start looking back towards the entrance now. As we get a beautiful view of the stadium here. What's up, Thor? Do you want to come tell me about the race today? Come on in. Actually, yeah. So we're just waiting for our leaders to come back. We have a special guest here who's going to tell us a little bit about the race and the course today. We have Thor Shepard, our junior men's champion in all 3 races. But more importantly, coach for Mark Shepard, who is currently in second place after shooting number 1. How do you think your dad's going to fare today?
I think it's looking good for him today. Hopefully he can shoot a little better than I did today. And skis look like they're running well. He's racing on pretty similar skis to I did today, and I had excellent skis today. So
Now, it seems like the issue that your dad had yesterday was he went back to do a penalty loop he didn't have to do. Was there any strategy involved in the game plan last night, or do you think he's going to do that again?
I think he just forgot how many targets he'd missed. He said he pulled what he calls an elder moment.
So we got your dad in the range here in the lead. He maintains the lead over Ian Twomley. We're going to watch them shoot, and then I want to hear about your race and hear about the conditions out there today. As we see Shepard with the orange sleeves coming in over Twomley, lanes 1 and 2 here. Dreisen, another team Soho, but racing with the Altius kit on. He's in third there. Dreisen won the first 2 Masters races of the weekend, so you know that he has a chance to take Twomley and Shepard down. Looks like the wind has died down, so we'll see if they're able to take the clicks off that they might have put on in the first shooting. Shepard goes 2 for 2, 3 for 3 in lane 1. Twomley's matching him with 2 for 2. Shepard misses his last shot, leaves the door open for Twomley, who does go clean. So Twomley is probably going to take the lead here after shooting number 2. Dreisen with a miss. Dreisen and Shepard are going to be head-to-head in the penalty loop. Here comes Sebastian White. Sebastian White was clean on the first shooting, not skiing as fast as the leaders. So White is going to have to go clean here if he wants to get himself back into the fight for the top spot. So White is on lane 4, and then on lane 5, we have Eric Lamy from Canada. Sean Halligan on lane 6. So here's your top 6 after shooting, or going into shooting 2. Oh, but Sebastian White with 4 penalties. I think that's going to be his day there. We're probably not going to see him too much after that performance. Going back to Muddy Dog Sports live timing. Where are our leaders? Are they out of the penalty loop yet? And it is going to be Twomley. He has an 11-second lead over Shepard, and Doug Dreisen 20 seconds back. So Twomley, Shepard, Dreisen. 20 seconds apart as we're watching the chasers coming through the range here and trying to keep in touch with the leaders. So let's bring it back to Thor Shepard here. Thor, how is the course holding up? Because the last couple days it's been warm, the snow's been sort of loose. How was it today?
Today, I mean, it was definitely falling apart more for our race, even at the beginning, than it was yesterday. Yesterday was significantly harder. It was icy. But today it's decently quick. There was some fresh snow over the grooming last night that got rolled in. And the course broke up a bit, but it's still pretty slow, but it's not as brutal as it was the first day.
That's always going to leave a good taste in everyone's mouth. It's tough when it's so slow that everyone's just grinding out there, you know what I mean? So tell me about the race today, because you know you're a fast shooter, you're accurate, you've had success in these head-to-head competitions in the past. How were you feeling going into the competition against some of our World Cup and IBU Cup heroes?
I felt pretty good. I mean, I had good races all week. My skiing's definitely improved a lot throughout the season. I've got some history of good shooting in practice and in some races. I was hoping to pull it together a little more today, but was not to be. I had some good shooting throughout the race. I mean, I shot 2-1-1 and then came in for standing in third place, just ahead of Paul Schomer, and I think I was thinking about it too much and then proceeded to miss 4 and dropped down a couple places, but it was good. I mean, I won the junior field and had a really decent result against the seniors.
What was the strategy going into today's race? Were you going to try to win it on the range, or did you feel like you had the legs to fight with those older guys on course?
The strategy today was just go out and have fun and see where I was after the first shooting, really. And you know, I saw I was in, you know, top 5 or so, and said, well, and I knew my skis were really fast today too, because coming down the downhill on the first lap, I was gliding past pretty much everyone. So definitely picked the correct gamble on the skis today, and yeah, it was a fun race, and really only one stage was the only thing I feel like I didn't execute as well as I could have. So
cool. So is this the last weekend of racing for you? Anything else coming up after this?
Yeah, this is the end of my season this year. Take a month off, do some light training, some fun skiing, and then come back in May and start training again.
Awesome. Any vacation on the schedule for the spring, or are you just going to kind of hang out at home?
Not really. Beginning of May, I'm going to go visit some grandparents, but otherwise it's pretty much hang out in West, do some cross cruising.
You're on the road, best vacation is just hang out, you know, not go anywhere. So cool. Well, Thor, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for sharing your experience out there, and yeah, I think you need to go out and cheer for your dad, because he's going to need it with Twomley and Dreisen right on his heels there. So congrats.
Thank you.
So again, that was Thor Shepard. He was our 3-time junior champion this weekend, but a member of the junior national team, racing for Team Altius and Biathlon Alberta Training Center. As we cut back to the range here, looks like we have our leader. I think this is Ian Twomley on lane 1, shooting standing, followed closely by Mark Shepard. So Shepard is definitely losing a little bit of time to Twomley on the range. I think, again, Shepard has a little bit more experience with biathlon than Twomley, so let's see if that experience can help him as Twomley starts with a miss. Dreisen now in lane 3. Twomley misses his first 2. Shepard hits his second. Twomley finally gets one down. Twomley's on a roll now, going 2 for 2. Shepard shoots quick, but has 3 penalties, and so does Twomley. So Twomley and Shepard are in the penalty loop together for 3 penalties. Dreisen 1 for 1. Dreisen 2 for 2. It's a short penalty loop, but clean shooting's going to help you as Dreisen hits his third. Miss for Dreisen. He needs this one if he can. He gets it. Dreisen is probably going to move into first place. It's a shorter penalty loop, but it's going to be enough that Dreisen is probably going to move into first place here over Shepard and Twomley. We don't see any of the competitors coming up, so I think this is going to be we're going to stick with this battle here for first. Looking down on the women's side, we missed the second shooting from the women, but we do have Sabine Arnold in first place over Janelle Webb in 26 seconds back, and there's Jennifer Higgins, 31 seconds back. So we have the top three for the women, separated by 30 seconds. The top three for the men, who are about to leave after shooting number 3, they're probably only going to be separated by 20 seconds or so. Dreisen leaves the range now in first.
We got another race, I think, that's getting ready to
Yeah,
start.
I'm popping back up to get the finish and the start.
12 seconds back, Mark Shepard. 15 seconds back, Ian Twomley. So the top three in the men's field, separated by 15 seconds. As we see Eric Lemmy in fourth for the Masters men. That's the difference between our top three and the chasers. Pan left. Yeah, there you go.
I'll keep an eye. I can keep an eye on that.
Sebastian White now. Mark Mailer, lanes 2 and 3. Scott Weichler coming in now. Good shooting there. 4 out of 5 from Lamy. That puts pressure on White and Mailer and Weichler.
Is that a finisher or is that a kid? He's probably not. Do you think that?
There goes Sebastian White. I think that is a dirty. That is 0 hits out of 5. So Sebastian White having a tough day on the range today. Mailer with 3 hits, 2 times around the lap. That leaves the door open for Weichler and Halligan to move up into the battle for 6th place. Because remember, the top 3 are about 2 minutes ahead. Weichler now off the shooting range with 4 penalties. Halligan hits his first 3. He has an opportunity, but look at those win flags. They're howling.
You should go big on the.
Go big on the range.
Halligan misses his last 2, so if he goes now, he'll probably leave the range with Weichler. He'll still move up. There was not great shooting from these chasers, so there's basically 2 races developing here. The race for first, and then the race for 4th and up. So as we take a look on the range here, lane 18, she's 3rd in line here. That's Sabine Arnold, our current women's leader. Ed Hirsch taking off now. Arnold has a little bit of a lead over her Crosscut Mountain Sports Center rival in Jennifer Higgins. Higgins actually left the range after her prone shooting in 3rd place. So Janelle Webb got passed by Higgins out on course there. So Webb should be coming in soon. There she is. So here's our top 3 women. Lane 18, Sabine Arnold, Washington Biathlon Association. Jennifer Higgins on 19, Crosscut Mountain Sports Center. And Janelle Webb, Auburn Ski Club. All West Coast athletes. They're used to this altitude. Arnold, I can see taking some shots, but I don't see any hits. I don't know how many shots she's taken, but I think she's leaving the door open here for Higgins and Webb, the 2 lefties. Higgins hits her second shot.
Are these the leaders?
There goes Sabine finally with a hit. I think she missed her first three.
Should I go big?
And there's Arnold. Arnold has 3 penalty loops. Janelle Webb is 2 for 2. Higgins hits her 4th shot. Needs this one to close the gap on Arnold. Webb 3 for 3. Webb with 1 penalty loop. Janelle Webb is going to move into the lead as her rivals are in the penalty loop for 3 penalties each. As we follow Jennifer Higgins out of the range, Sabine Arnold and Jennifer Higgins are in the penalty loop for 3 each. Janelle Webb is going to be your leader after shooting number 3. But we know that Jennifer Higgins is skiing very well. So Janelle Webb, even though she has the lead, the deal is not sealed yet. All 3 of these women have 1 more shooting to go as well.
Probably some the men's went through.
Yeah.
So in terms of that's the lead guys there.
Oh, and our top men have gone through as well. We didn't even see them come through. We see Mark Shepard in the penalty loop just ahead of Dreisen. Where's Twomley? Twomley's in first. Ian Twomley just took off back on course. So it's the battle between second place between Shepard and Dreisen. Shepard's going around for another lap in the orange. Dreisen gets tangled with Janelle Webb, who takes the lead for the women. Dreisen needs to stay with Mark Shepard if he wants to fight for second place here, as Twomley is way out on course. He's going to take the win here easily. Twomley skiing faster than Dreisen and Shepard. There goes Shepard past the checkpoint. And Dreisen goes back in for another penalty loop. So that's going to be your top 3. Shepard, second place, 12 seconds back. Sorry, 57 seconds back, 1 minute back of Twomley. Dreisen, as we can see, still in the penalty loop. So our top 3 men, the race has completely unfolded here for the Masters men. It was so tight down the finishing stretch, and now the top 3 are separated by over a minute. 1:22 is the gap for Dreisen. While he is skiing well this weekend, I don't think he's skiing well enough to overcome that gap on Mark Shepard. So I think our men's podium is going to be Ian Twomley from Crosscut Mountain Sports Center, Mark Shepard for Team Altius, and then Doug Dreisen for Team Soho, as we see our Masters B category off. This is our last category for the day. It's been a fast and furious day. We've done our best to keep the drone in the sky as much as we could, but we had to charge the batteries. But what a race that was. After shooting number 3, the top 3 Masters men were so close, and it just completely unraveled in the last shooting stage for them. And it's gonna be Ian Twomley to take the lead. But again, we have our women. Let's take a look down the leaderboard here. Our women's race. Sabine Arnold is 19 seconds back of Janelle Webb after shooting number 3. But it's Jennifer Higgins who's behind Arnold. Higgins, the fastest skier out there. She's been putting in great time on her competitors on the skis. So I believe if everything stays consistent, we're going to see these 3 women standing next to each other in the range for their final shooting again. What a great day of biathlon racing. We saw some excellent racing in the senior category, both men and women's side. We saw great competition on our youth and U17 fields. And now we have great races developing in the Masters category. So this is just a prime example of why biathlon is the greatest sport in the world. It combines the physical and demanding nature of cross-country skiing, which many say is the most difficult sport in the world. But then you put the biathlon on top of it, or you put the shooting on top of it, and it forces you to slow everything down, focus in. And there's Twombly crossing the finish line. He should be proud of that. Absolutely stellar performance by Ian Twombly. Unfortunately, I missed his last shooting as we were watching the women, but he had to have shot well. If he was in the mix with Shepard and Dreisen and was able to put a minute on them after the shooting, then he had to have shot well. As we see Mark Shepard coming around the final turn there towards the finish.
A little to the left. There you go.
And here comes Mark Shepard, able to hold off Doug Dreisen. Dreisen winning both the first two races, coming in third today. He was putting up a big bout of competitiveness against these two athletes. So the fact that these guys were able to beat Dreisen on the last day, really good for them. And we should see Doug Dreisen coming around the finish. Yep, there he is, coming around the turn here. And then we're going to shift our focus back to the range as we have our top three women probably coming in together for the final shooting stage. But it's been a great weekend of racing. All three races have been absolutely stellar. The sprint race and the mass start yesterday, every single mass start we had yesterday was head-to-head, came down to the final shooting. So it's just been a great weekend of biathlon racing here at the Crosscut Mountain Sports Center. As we see in the distance, there are our three women as expected. We're going to situate ourselves so we can see the target. But as expected, our three women are coming into the range. Looks like Arnold may have passed Janelle Webb. Yep, there's Sabine Arnold right there in the lead. Let's see where they end up putting them. We have our Masters B category coming in to shoot prone, so we want to make sure that the women are shooting on the standing targets, not on the small targets. All right, so Sabine Arnold files in there on lane 16. Next to her with the red and blue tights, we have Janelle Webb from the Auburn Ski Club. They have a little bit of a lead over the local hero of Jennifer Higgins from Crosscut Mountain Sports Center. Higgins, one of the faster skiers out there. Arnold,
Master Speed's in there too.
my expectation is that Arnold is the better shooter of the three. 16, 17, and 18. I expect Arnold to get the shot off fast, but Webb did go 4 for 5 in her last shooting. Let's see if she has one more of those bouts in her. The wind is cooperating. Not too bad for these three ladies. And Barbara Blanky, don't look now, but Barbara Blanky has entered the competition on lane 19 in 4th place. Janelle Webb misses her first two, but hits Charlie.
That guy in lane 1 got them all.
Janelle Webb is out with 3 penalties. I don't see anyone else hitting a target. 2 out of 3, usually, or 2 out of 5, usually not the standard. Sabine Arnold goes dirty. Sabine Arnold doesn't hit anything. We have 1 hit on lane 18. 2 hits on lane 18. Jennifer Higgins needs 1 more, and she could claim the win with her fast skiing. If she doesn't hit it, then it's going to be a ski race with Janelle Webb, and she does. 2 penalty loops for Jennifer Higgins. She's going to be tied out of the penalty loop with Janelle Webb. Looking on lane 19. And it's Barbara Blanky, goes 4 for 5. Barbara Blanky's going to be back into this race.
Yeah, take me out.
Okay, you're off.
I can hang for like a couple minutes, but I want to get there.
We're going to check the penalty loop if we can see it, but I'll keep you updated on the splits.
I can go for like a minute or 2.
Okay.
And then I'll land and get the finish.
Going out onto lane 5. There's all 4 of our top women in the penalty loop together. I believe it's going to be a battle between Webb and Higgins. I think Higgins has the advantage on the skis, but Barbara Blanky has 1 penalty loop. And there goes Blanky. Blanky moves into first. From 4th place into 1st, Barbara Blanky jumps 3 competitors in the last shooting with a 4 out of 5. She's going to be your leader after shooting number 4. And I don't see anyone else coming out of the penalty loop behind her. Webb and Higgins still have one more penalty loop. Where's Sabine Arnold? There's Higgins. Higgins goes into 2nd place. 2 seconds up on Janelle Webb. I don't think Janelle Webb's going to be able to close that door. So Higgins has 17 seconds to catch on Barbara Blanky if she wants to take the win. Higgins has been skiing extremely well all weekend. So we'll see if she can close it down. Barbara Blanky from Utah, she's used to this altitude, so she should be ready. What an exciting finish to this one. This is why we love biathlon. Doesn't matter if you're in 4th place at the end, you can still make a comeback with quality shooting down the stretch.
All right, you can put me up if you want to,
Okay, going to drone.
and I'll just keep an eye out for.
And then I'll go range picture in picture.
So we got our drone back. We had to do our one last battery swap, but we're going to see if we can go find the women out on course.
All right, do you want me to follow on it? How close are they?
Is this a woman here?
What an absolutely exciting finish to this race.
Is that them right there?
Do you think this is them?
So we're just waiting to see who's going to come out of the woods first for the Masters women. Barbara Blanky left in 1st place, 17 seconds up on Jennifer Higgins. Higgins had been skiing extremely well this weekend. So we're
Is this them right there?
let's cut to the drone. Maybe we'll have an idea. Is that Barbara? I don't believe it is.
No, that looks like dudes.
We have two more coming out of the woods behind them. I think these. So we do have 2 races going on right now. We have the Masters A, which is what we're following, and the Masters B, which we see Jean Delanière on the lane 1 there.
That's a woman. No, or is that a dude?
I think these are some of our competitors in the Masters B category. But any moment now, out of the woods, we should see either Higgins or Blanky. Oh, and Blanky actually just crossed the finish line. We did see, Blanky at the come by. She just crossed the finish line. As we're looking at Higgins right here, she's going to make the turn into the finish. So Barbara Blanky was able to hold off Jennifer Higgins. hard to catch everyone out there with the drone and looking for the bib numbers, but that's Jennifer Higgins we're following into the finish. She's currently second place behind the winner, Barbara Blanke. What an absolutely fantastic performance for Blanke to go from not being on the podium in any of the races so far this weekend to jumping into the win on the last shooting stage. As Higgins is coming to the line, she's going to be just in front of Janelle Webb. And your Masters Women competition is going to come to a close very soon here.
I should have just stayed in the front.
Pan left just a little bit.
Left.
Yep. As you see, Blanke there with the red and blue bottoms, the white rifle. And Higgins getting her rifle checked out with the Crosscut Mountain Sports Center as Janelle Webb crosses the finish line now. So there are your top 3 women in the Masters A category. And Sabine Arnold. Wow, even after dirtying the last stage, Sabine Arnold comes in 4th just behind Janelle Webb. So there's your top 4 women in the Masters A category. What a great race there at the end. I'm sure they're all... right now, there's tons of emotions that happen during the race, and they're going through all the emotions right now. In a moment, I'm sure we're going to start seeing them conversing with each other, talking about what the heck just happened, the after-action report. But what a great performance there by Bib 159. As we cut back to the range here, these are going to be our Masters B athletes. Let's give you an update on what's going on in the Masters B race here. Jean Delanier is currently in first. He was the winner for the Masters B category in both of the first 2 races this weekend.
I'm following the guy out.
And then we have a 1-minute gap to Thomas Dolan, who's 30 seconds up on Stephen Moses. So Dolan and Moses are going to be battling for the 2nd and 3rd place finishes as Delanier is way ahead. In the Masters B women category, we have Jennifer Ford, who is 56 seconds up on Anna Carl after shooting number 1. As I believe, we're looking at the penalty loop right here. I believe Moses, who just left the penalty loop, moves into 2nd, and we're looking at Dolan going around the penalty loop here as well.
I don't feel as comfortable flying as those.
Okay, going to range.
So what a great performance. It would be great if we could maybe get Barbara Blanke down here to tell us about that last shooting stage, whether or not she knew she was in contention for the win. The sooner we can get her after she crossed the finish line, I'm sure the more raw the emotion is going to be from that performance there.
I only have like 2 people out. I think I might be done unless maybe I'll catch.
I can use a finish static.
Maybe I'll get.
As we saw clean shooting there on lane number 5. Good shooting. as we're watching some of our Masters B competitors out there, I'm a little out of breath because I just ran up to the stadium to get Barbara Blanky. We want to catch her right after the finish line to hear about that performance. So we'll have Blanky here in just a moment. All right. All right, so we have the winner of the Masters A Women category, Barbara Blanky here. You just crossed the finish line. When I ran up and grabbed you, you're still taking your bib off. Do you even realize what just happened there? You went from 4th place to 1st in the last shooting stage with good shooting. Did you know that you were going to jump into 1st there?
No, I had no idea what was going on. I just kept wanting to do my own race, and honestly, I've been not shooting my best this whole series, and so I was just feeling like, come on, I know how to do this better than this. So I just went in and I just put everything else out of my mind, and I just kept wanting to hit one target at a time, and so it went my way because I know I can shoot well, and finally it just happened. So I was just grateful that I was calm, and anyway, I didn't know anything about the other racers. I just know I only had to do one, and I was grateful.
Yeah. Did you take a look at the other targets when you were leaving? Like, did you know that
No.
you had such an advantage?
No,
So you had no idea?
I don't even do that. I don't put that kind of pressure on me. I thought maybe I had a chance to scoot ahead, and I didn't know who was far out. I didn't have any clue because on a short track like that, you lose touch with people.
Right.
And if you lose touch, all of a sudden you're like, well, okay, I can only ski my best. So I think the last loop, I knew whatever happened because I had been catching people on the laps previously.
Yep.
And then they'd outshoot me a little, and I catch
Well,
up.
after the 3rd shooting, we were following Arnold, Webb, and Higgins, and we didn't even see you. And suddenly you kind of came into the 4th position there, and so we figured we followed your shooting. But then suddenly you just hit all your targets, and you were the first one out. So in my opinion, that was the best race of the day because of just the craziness at the end there. So that was thanks to you and your great shooting at the end.
Wow.
I'll let you go. I'll let you go get warm. I know you're probably a little cold and
Well,
sweaty. So
thanks
thanks
This
for.
live stream has been really fun, and we've just had a great time watching all the racers, and thank you so much for everything you're doing.
Yeah, no, thank you for putting on such a great show today. So, all right, go get warm. Thanks for your time. So again, that was our Masters A Women champion, Barbara Blanky. She was 4th place going into the last shooting stage, and she hit 4 out of 5 and was able to just jump right into 1st place out of from 4th. So we saw in the senior racing today, we saw like 2, maybe 3 athletes fighting for the podium today, but she comes all the way from 4th place on the last shooting stage to jump into 1st. So that was super exciting. And we caught the raw emotion just as she crossed the finish line there. So yeah, great race for Barbara.
All right, so we've discovered a new tactic for providing content here. It's to interview people as they walk